Tonight, April 13th, 2019, right here on Speed Gaming 3, we are live for what we like to call the encore of the 2019 Final Fantasy Randomizer Spring Tournament first round. Tonight is a story of role reversal. It was just about a year ago, the 2018 Spring Tournament, late on a Sunday night, I believe it was, and ironically, what was in the encore slot of the first round, where newcomer Willcleosis at the time took on a well and heavily favored Zardia. Death touched Tiamat that dark spring night, ignited a shocking twist of fate as the unknown Willcleosis pulled off an upset win over what was thought to be the foregone conclusion of a victory for the leader of Final Fantasy Randomizer, Zardia. That match started a domino effect as Willcleosis became known as Cinderella, Swiss round story where he would go on to string together an upset after upset, becoming the Dragon Slayer. But that was last year, and this is the 2019 Spring Tournament, and the hunter has now become the hunted. An unknown, we're going to call him the wild card, enters the ring. Podcast extraordinaire, Rafe Hates Caleb, better known as Caleb around here, lines up across from the voice of Final Fantasy Randomizer in his first ever tournament and live match, ready to take on the challenge and attempt to relive the magic that his opponent nuked, bracked, and baned his way to last year. Can a fan favorite secure round victory, or is Caleb ready to make his mark in the Final Fantasy Randomizer community? Does Caleb get the Will Bloodworth, the Arson Horse, the Fuzzy Mage distinguishment of the newest Dark Horse underdog? We don't know much about him, other than the fact that he's here. He's taken on his opponent, which we do not know. He has only listened to exclusively on YouTube, but studied for over a year. We're going to find out live on Speed Gaming 3 tonight, uploaded, reloaded on YouTube. I am the enforcer. My name is Falconic. We have an all-star crew tonight to bring you this great event. Joining me is the leader of the Ducklings, Final Fantasy Randomizer's new player initiative, Mama Duck herself, Moist Mogwai.
Good evening, viewers. If you don't have chills down your entire body, goosebumps where you didn't even know you could get them at this point, you need to go back, rewind this. If you're watching on YouTube, maybe rewind it a couple times, because it's time for the encore of the first round of the 2019 Final Fantasy Randomizer Spring Tournament. And like Falconic said, we don't know much about Caleb. We've gotten some just low-key facts about him, going back, listening to his podcast. There was a great one with Willcleosis, got in there and talked with him. But he's a mystery, Falconic. He could be the dark horse. We don't know yet. And joining us also in the booth tonight is Lord Fizzlebeef.
What's all this then?
Lord Fizzlebeef, my round one opponent, one of the better friends we've got here in Final Fantasy Randomizer, is joining us in the booth. And we have Lyra and Danny tracking. Mo, what do we got in White Magic here starting off?
Oh, and White Magic starting off here, we have Heal, Harm 2, Harm 4. So Harm 4 is going to be a good pickup, but so far, not much else other than that. We do see Zap and Quad X, which are also a great pickup here for our runners in Black Magic.
I've got my eye on that Fire 2 spell between Fire 2 and Harm. That's going to make quick work of a Marsh Cave if we end up kind of herded in that direction.
What do you think about a potential pop grind with Fire 2 and Harm?
I don't like a pop grind unless we really have a reason to do it. And so far, I've not seen a compelling reason to head in that direction.
Yeah, this early on, I don't want to make that decision. I really want to see what items the runners get and which routes that pushes them into, whether that be the Provoca area, whether that be the Marsh Cave area. I don't want to make that call this soon, and I don't like seeing pop grinds in these Swiss seeds, at least. We see Willcleosis fighting the bridge boss already.
Got to get that bridge boss out of the way first. Don't get me wrong, I'm not entirely opposed to a pop grind. The reason to do that is usually tied to something weird going on in Provoca. There's a thing at the item shop we really want, or there's something in Provoca that we want. That's the reasoning I can see to justify a pop grind. But until we check Provoca, I can't really approve of one of those just yet.
Yeah, I think it's far too early to make that call just yet. We did see Will go ahead and cross the bridge, get through the credit screen, and save, and then he burned off an encounter, so he's already playing this very smart. But on the other side, we see Caleb already in Temple of Fiends. He's going to go ahead and check out that left side a little bit ahead of Will, but we do see Will making the veteran plays to burn off encounters. Go ahead and get that credit scene out of the way if he has to jet either that way or down towards Marsh and Elfland.
It's an interesting play. I'd be curious to see if it actually ends up saving time in the long run. It's not something I've ever thought of doing. I really want to see how it pans out.
And we got a
Banesword. An early Banesword pickup. That's going to, I guarantee you get used quite a bit.
I'm going to assume once Will picks it up, he's going to be very happy to see that this early on. And Caleb, I don't know his preference yet on his spells, but I'm sure he's not hating that either.
Looking at Caleb's party, I believe that's double fighter, red-white. That's an interesting combination, I think. Usually with a lot of the other double fighter parties I've seen so far, they go with a white mage and a black mage. Be curious to see how this works out. Quad X to Garland. That's the pro tactic right there. Fire 2 could take a couple casts. Bane could take a couple casts. That Quad X, always going to hit. And out of the King and the Princess, we get the Oxiel and the TNT. TNT means we're headed to Dwarf Cave. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
I gotta think that's gonna push us right down that direction. Whether or not Will stay with the route he's taking, I don't know. He may go ahead and make that trip to Provoca first, go ahead and get that side of the continent out of the way, and then make his way, knowing that he's gonna turn in TNT, he's gonna want to check out Elfland, and Marsh is incentivized, so I think we might see Will go towards Provoca and then go do that TNT turn in.
The Provoca check... I'm actually really conflicted about this because Oxiel is kind of a wild card. If Provoca ends up being Onrac, slamming down Sea Shrine might be the thing to go. Oh no!
He's gonna Quad X Garland down again, so it's not a big worry. We knew Garland wasn't anything to write home about here, but he did make the mistake of going ahead and getting his items, but not saving before he left Canaria, going on his next adventure. And I gotta think this is gonna kind of stay with him the rest of the match, maybe make him a little bit more alert to save. We mentioned that he is a player of Final Fantasy. He's been training in the shadows for a year now. So he's not unfamiliar with the game, but as far as a race setting, this is the first time we've seen him in here. So I gotta think that's just a little bit of jitters, a little bit of nerves. He did save there, so he's obviously learning from past mistakes, and I think we're gonna see him play a little bit smarter from here on out.
On the reset, did he go back and get that Bane sword? I don't think he did.
I don't think he did either.
He did not. He went straight to Garland. Maybe that's one of the things he's not comfortable using, didn't even want to have to sell.
So Caleb, for those that don't know, Caleb owns and runs a podcast, Rafe Hates Caleb. And this week they had Willcleosis on as a special guest, and they talked a lot about FFR and growing up. Caleb is kind of just like the rest of us, grew up playing this game for 30 years. So very, very knowledgeable about the game and the items and the maps and what they do. So I'm sure he knows how to use the Bane Sword, but this is his first race. And I get the feeling the nerves are probably kicking in pretty hard right now. You take that wipe, you're already feeling bad. You think you need to just start go. And you miss out on items like the Bane Sword that's going to actually speed things up for you. So it's worth the time invested to go pick that back up.
Yeah, he's definitely under the center stage light here, which he's used to being on his podcast, but usually with friendly territory. Here, he's going against somebody that he's watched, somebody who he's studied, somebody who was actually on his podcast. But we're going to see TNT go into ship, and Caleb is going to try and go straight for that ship instead of going down to the Northwest Castle area.
Well, don't look now, but Caleb could not get away from a pack of wolves and takes another wipe. It's bad. It's early. Get him out of the way. But he's going to have to go all the way back over to the dwarves.
Meanwhile, in the Dwarf Cave, we hand in the TNT and we get the ship. Willcleosis taking this slow and steady. Hooray!
Hooray!
Good Mittens joining us in chat. What's the point of using the ribbon instead of waiting or passing or whatever? Not much, other than sometimes you don't want to run from a fight, so you got to give that person something to do. You could easily just start swinging with nothing equipped, but some people think it's a little bit faster to menu and use an item.
It's also a great way to dan a character if that's what your end goal is. Instead of hitting them and possibly killing them when you want to kill off a party member, you'll just smack them with an item that means nothing to them. Maybe a locket, maybe a ribbon, whatever you get in your pocket.
Oh no. Fizzle, the wolves are eating away at Caleb again.
It's got to be first time nerves. I got I have to assume that that's what's happening here, and it's happened to everyone. You hit one early mistake, you panic. That panic leads to another early mistake, you panic more. Mistake to panic to mistake to panic, and sooner or later you're just spiraling out of control. It's possible to pull up out of it, and let's see if Caleb can figure it out.
And he's going back and correcting a previous mistake. He went and got that Bane sword, and then also that cabinet was in there. So he knows where he messed up the first time. He's going back and trying to adjust it, but he is running into those encounters by not power resetting like he was the first time that he entered this Temple of Fiends.
Yep, and here, this is just... Yeah, Will's doing his shopping. I don't know... Caleb, he's throwing out the fire too. He picked up the Bane sword. It's surprising. A lot of times you'll see runners, even if it's a fight they want to run away from, they'll set everyone to run except for the person that has the item magic, like Bane, just to help kind of narrow down the people that are attacking you as you get away. But he makes it out.
Alright, he's going to go ahead and save. So now he knows he has that Bane sword. He's probably going to go back to Canary here, go ahead and res that first fighter up. Like you mentioned, he is a double fighter party, which we did see in our last round with Tyrannex. He took a double fighter party. It's not a bad makeup at all, but you do definitely want to find gear for both of them. And if not, you're going to have to give one of them a nap here soon.
One of the things about the Swiss flags that sort of gives an edge, I think, to the double fighter combination is that with the two loose items, we're more likely than not going to be opening a lot of boxes in the game, and that's a lot of chances to kind of fill out the inventory of these two fighters.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of double fighters, we have some very interesting names over here on Caleb's side. Falconic, do you want to talk about the names, or should I go ahead and fill in the audience about his name choices?
No, go ahead and fill them in.
So he is one of his fighters named Gary, which is a big fan of his podcast, longtime diehard fan. And I'd like to think that we have Gary in our audience here tonight. So in honor of Gary, he went ahead and named one of them after him. He also has a party member named Rafe, which is his co-host on his podcast channel. I wouldn't say a lifelong friend, but a very close friend here in the recent years. Try to stay in touch. That's how their podcast actually came to be, so that they could keep in touch. And it's actually called Rafe Hates Caleb, and they review movies together, watch really crappy movies together, maybe some good movies here and there. But he has a lot of close ties in his party names. And we're going to see Will make it to, I think that was Provoca, and it ends up being Alpha.
Correct. There was also a Matoya check involved. Opened the 3 boxes, didn't see anything he wanted, reset back to the docks, and sailed over, and is resetting again. Apparently doesn't like what he sees in level 3 magic either.
He's definitely going to do the town checks here and get some knowledge, and he's not happy with that Ulflin at all, which ends up being Lefane.
The man's gone reset happy as he once again teleports back to Canaria, headed westward.
Yeah, Will is on an absolute just terror here, trying to find some towns, and he's going to be very happy here. He has to be finding Provoca over here in Melmond. He's going to go ahead and get a free item here, and there's life 2 there in white magic. Hopefully black magic is as forgiving, but he doesn't check it. He's going to go straight to Bicky.
That was life 2 notable and ruse.
Yeah, I was going to say, more notable than life 2, I think, is ruse. That means that we might not necessarily need the defense sword for chaos. We just get the tail, upgrade our classes, and that chaos fight that night just casts ruse 3 times, and they're good to go.
Yeah, Will is not displeased with that magic shop at all. We're about to see what Bicky has here. It ends up being the Adamant, so very close to a turn-in. We're going to see what that ends up being, but we did see Caleb finally pick up his ship again. So we're going to see if he utilizes the canoe as much as Will is here, and which route he tries to diverge off of. Maybe he'll make the Crescent Lake check, or maybe he'll go straight to Melmond. Item shop, not too much to write home about. We still have Caleb sailing through the seas, Will running into people, running into citizens here in the town of Provoca.
Everyone wants to get an autograph from the smooth talker himself.
They want him to sign his cube.
Yeah.
Oh boy, did you see that level 2 black magic?
Ooh, I see it now. That is one heck of a level 2. I pity the party that does not have black mages, which, as it turns out, is both of them.
Is none of them, yeah. There's a lot of red and white on both party screens here. We're gonna see Will actually try and take some fights for, I would believe, money here, so he can do some shopping before he inevitably leaves for quite some time until his...
That's my assumption, yeah.
Yeah. He's gonna probably come back here once he's class changed and he has adults on his screen, but until then, he's gonna grind, get some money, and forget this town existed.
Meanwhile, Caleb is doing a bit of a deeper exploration of Elfland. Let's see what level 4 magic has on offer. Level 4, we've got nothing. Expert, sure, but in principle, nothing. And over on black magic side, we've got Lightning 3. That's not bad.
All I'm gonna say is Expert might have played a good little supporting role in your match against Falconic earlier this week.
We don't talk about that?
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. Nothing happened. It was fine.
It was a supporting role. Wasn't a good film. Didn't win any Emmys, but, you know.
No one watched it. It's fine.
It was in the credit sequence.
Best case scenario, it becomes a cult classic later.
20 years from now, it will be cherished and loved, but right now, 0 stars on Rotten Tomatoes.
Caleb's done with his Elfland shopping trip, heading westward. Probably gonna head south, get the bad news about Elfland. No, we're gonna do a Matoya check. Interesting. Both runners have done Matoya checks this evening.
We know Will's gonna want to make all the checks he can on the early continent, so he doesn't have to come back here until he has the airship for possible shopping. Caleb knows he has loose items, so he's probably just gonna make sure that he's not missing anything here that Will might pick up before him. Coming into this, he knows he's the underdog, he knows he's a little bit less experienced, so he's definitely trying to make up with that with certain plays.
Willcleosis landing a Quad X on a shark.
With
Quad X, my favorite spell in
sound.
the game. Oh yeah, the screaming will continue until morale improves.
The only way. He's gonna go ahead and turn on the adamant, and we're gonna see his canoe. So, Will has all of his boats. He has his main Titanic ship. He has his little rescue boat to go off into neighboring towns, and hooray! We have a canoe!
Hooray!
Caleb is making use of that ship. He is pretty familiar with how this is. I gotta think he's maybe watched some runners play this, tried to get in some, you know, sort of routing, and I just noticed his white mage is named Help, which was another special shout out in his podcast with Will. They were talking about party names, what he should name them, should they have some meaning, and Will had mentioned that Help is a great name for white mage, because you're healing, you're buffing, you're rezzing, so what is your white mage doing? It's helping.
Sure. I can get behind that. I'm personally a big fan of naming people after their job. Like, the fighter is named Hit because he hits, and the red mage is named Fade because he's the de facto white mage in my party most of the time. But I'm okay with issuing messages to the audience as well, and a cry for help. I can get behind that. I utilized that in the match that totally didn't happen versus Falconic, and we can see how well it worked there.
You know, as chat pointed out, do you name it Help because it's helping? Or, oh god, why did I have to pick a white mage? You know, I think a lot of people are happy to see the white mage in the first round, to be honest. Maybe not in the later rounds, but I think first round, this was a very friendly party comp for a lot of people to work with. And definitely to kind of, yeah, to separate the 0-1s from the 1-0s at this point, which, 0-1s, you're looking scary, first of all. Okay. Not happy about next week.
I think 0-1 is definitely more scary looking than 1-0s are for sure. That level 2 black magic, I get the feeling that's really going to come back to a bigger play here. Fast, Temper, and Nuke, great spells, but they all share the same level. I think Will's dive or his gamble to do the double red's going to pay off, but
stuck with only a red and a white mage, I've been kind of chewing on how I would treat that level 2 magic. It's, do we sacrifice one of Nuke, Fast, or Temper to get life 2 is the question that it comes down to. That is an almost impossible question for the early game, I think.
Yeah, that's another answer I wouldn't want to make early game. do I want a Dan person now? And then I end up being in Temple of Fiends Revisited and it being absolutely nasty, and I need all of the charges of everything I can get. It's too early to tell. Don't like it. But we do see this Crescent Lake shop and it having gold bracelets for 9.7k.
Gold bracelets for under 10,000. That's...
Yes, please.
I think the cheapest I've seen them so far.
You're gonna see a life that's unlearnable at this point, and nothing to write home in the black magic shop either. And, Fizzle, what do we have here?
Something happened. Someone's unglued the old men. They seem to have come loose from their spots in the ground. They're wandering around. Yoga in the park's gone all crazy. Let's see what they're trying to hide from us.
I gotta think Falconic's here, even though pink isn't his color. But, I've woken up some mornings and he's just walking around the kitchen just like this.
I mean, she's not wrong, but that's definitely Edgeworth's walk in the park right there.
And we get the rod out of the Crescent Lake gang. Willcleosis, he's a wily one. He might just decide, to heck with everything, let's go slam out all of Earth right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just for
I can
funsies.
see it.
It's his favorite early play, and again we've said on commentary, friends don't let friends dive Earth Cave without Rod. Well, he has Rod, so now what do friends do? Cheer? Panic? Cry? Cringe? We'll find out.
Sit down and just sigh into our drinks? I don't know.
I guess we'll have to call the audible on that one as we see he's going to take some encounters here. Don't know where he's going to go yet, but we do see Caleb, again, making it out of the inner sea, trying to make some plays here. Not as far ahead as Will is, and a little bit confused with the maps here. That's okay. I pulled up the maps multiple times in my round, nerves got the best of me, and I questioned every continent line that I had ever seen in every match I'd ever played.
Sometimes...
Happens to all of us.
Sometimes you set a course, you're aiming for a destination, and then sooner or later you realize you should have probably hit that destination by now. Out comes the map, everyone in chat takes a drink. It happens. It always happens.
Yeah, you shoot for ordeals and end up in Crescent Lake.
It's
normal things.
It's better to look at the map to find out where you're going than to just sail in circles for an hour.
Yeah, when I'm in those open waters, don't see any continents or coastlines, I'm like, did I mess up or am I just worrying too hard?
What do you guys think about Will's play here? He's obviously fighting outside Crescent Lake, trying to get money for his gold bracelets. This versus diving the Volcano Armory, which one do you think is a better play?
He did need some levels because he was pretty low once he landed here. I'm usually pretty confident diving Volcano Armory, but if his next play is Ice, I think this is a great move. Get your gold bracelets, get your levels, and then go tackle Ice and see. Maybe the floater's there. Maybe the vanilla floater is waiting for you. Maybe you're going to get the edge and the mobility over your opponent.
I think Volcano Armory is a fine play. I'm looking north. I'm looking to Cardia for some easy chests, and if I'm looking to get levels this early, which I feel like this grind is 50-50 levels in cash, I'm looking at Ordeals.
Interesting. So you'd actually sail your way all the way down and kind of make your gamble that's where Floater's going to be.
I think I would. It's true that we found both of the key item towns, so Onrac isn't going to be anything. But between Ordeals and Waterfall, I'm kind of feeling that as a direction that I might want to travel to look for that floater.
Mm-hmm.
I do like an early Ordeals play, and I call it the Edgeworth, Falcona calls it the Edgeworth, sailing there before you have anything else. It hurts a little bit because they don't have warp right now to kind of counteract that pillar maze that they're going to inevitably encounter and, get wrong.
Right.
But it's also not a bad play for their levels, so in my race, I went for it. I went for the Ordeals play because I knew Shadow wouldn't right out of the gate. But it really depends on your opponent. We know Will loves Earth. We know Will is no stranger to sailing to Ordeals either. So we gotta think Caleb is just maybe wanting to play it a little bit safe, making sure he has all his ducks in a row from the beginning, so maybe late game he comes back.
And here's Willcleosis, rounding the southern end of the northern continent. Looks like he's headed up towards the Onrac area.
He's going to do Onrac, and then I think you nailed it. He's also going to do the Oasis check here. I think he's going to check out Onrac because Will's a big proponent of knowing towns, getting that knowledge But then it's also a real quick trip just east to hit up Ordeals like you said you would do.
Flutter is one of the more interesting things that can end up in an item shop, so heading up here and making a check at the Oasis, this could be huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we could see the vendor item here and it'd be a very early item he wants, but we could also see it end up being like a cube or a tail. Something he'll need later or want later, but not now.
Right.
But while he's up here, he can easily check Onrac, check Waterfall if he's really feeling froggy, so there's options here and it's not a wasted trip.
Meanwhile, on the right side of the screen, Caleb seems to be following in the footsteps. That grind that Will took outside of Crescent Lake seems to have evened everything up. Oasis shop is a bust. Willcleosis heads south, while Caleb seems to be just headed straight for Onrac.
I think he's gonna go ahead and head to that town, see what the magic is, see where it lands him. Maybe it'll be vanilla Onrac, maybe it is. It is vanilla Onrac. So Oxio becomes a big play here for both of them, and floaters for sale.
Ooh. All right, buckle up. We're gonna walk into Steve real quick. We're gonna open some boxes, try and fish out 20k, get us a floater.
I might be mistaken, but I think that's our first floater for sale this first round of the Swiss.
I always see them in practice seeds, and I never see them in competition. It's weird.
Yeah, same way. Same way. Caleb taking a fight against one of the Frost Gators, that is great XP, but man, do they hit hard.
Mm-hmm. Willcleosis also seems to be taking fights outside. It looks like nobody wants to brave Sea Shrine, or maybe Will's headed back in? Maybe he was just a couple bucks shy? I think so, because there's his purchase floater. Going to the clinic, raise the white mage. Where are we going?
Booking it out of here. Will said I got my wings. I'll be back when I need to be. But I'm gonna go get mobile, baby.
Sons, I am disappointed. I'm just gonna put that out there right now.
Caleb make his way through the waterfall. I would feel a little bit unconfident with the levels here, knowing that whatever I get in here, I also have to walk out at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't feel fantastic, but maybe he thinks he's gonna get money in here for that floater, and that's gonna be his play. Maybe he feels more confident in this than braving, even trying to make it to Mermaids and Sea Shrine right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, knowing that we have to walk out, and knowing that we're at like level 4, if we can really meter out our spells, then walking in and out should be doable, and that will solve our early levels problem because Willcleosis took the stationary grind outside Crescent Lake. This is a grind that's still kind of forward momentum. So I think this will put Caleb in a better position, but they'll still be relatively tied, I think. Only about a minute behind getting the airship as compared to Willcleosis.
Yeah, they're not far behind at all now. I'd like to see them take more fights along the way just to get some levels, and we're gonna see this Wiz Mummy pack not be very kind to them, but they're gonna go ahead and burn one of their nukes here so that they can see what the item is to see if it's even worth it at this point. Maybe it's gonna be the ribbon. They don't need it right now. They can come back for it later if they really want it when they have exit. But that is gonna give them some levels there on that red mage and white mage, and it's the bottle.
Alright, sure. It's a thing we need.
Here's a question. You pick up the bottle. When do you make your dive towards Sea Shrine? Usually volcanoes first. You usually save Earth for last, but it seems like we're split between second and third. Do you do Sky if you have access, or Sea?
I mean, you heard my opinion. I would have done Sea the moment I saw Onrac.
Mm-hmm.
I would have gone at least for Mermaids, but we see started being a little bit of a rude neighbor. He just gave the ruby to Willcleosis, which the Titan has been waiting for months and weeks and starving, and started just tossing it between his hands, bobbling it around in his cave by himself.
I'm pretty sure this is just NPC version of Commentary Curse, because every race I've done comms for so far, Sarda has been a jerk.
I think it's been the third time that I've seen him really be a jerk. Nothing in there, so Titan was fed for no reason. Will's gonna go away, reset, and Titan is once again starving. Ruby in pocket.
Caleb's having a bit of a rough time. He's out of heal pots. He's having to burn his heal 3s, his heal 2s, his heals. If he can make it out, the levels that he gained are going to be pretty good, but this is going to be more than likely, I think, a required place. So
This is a long run to do with no firepower. I'm feeling a little scared.
Mud goals with frost as well are going to lower that health just a little bit.
Ugh.
If I've learned anything, if you have a safe trip into Waterfall, your trip out is not going to be safe. You're going to see the spell list that you didn't see coming in. You're going to see the enemies and the unreadable packs you didn't. And Will picks up the game changer.
There it is. The game changer's been located, but he can't use it.
Equip it.
You've got to be an adult to swing the Vorpal, and he's not.
He's making sure we know it, though. He wants to equip it. Maybe the game will freak out and just let him equip it if he mashes the button 50 times. But not today, Will. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to class change. Be a grown up first.
It's fine.
Nothing else. We can't say he didn't try.
He certainly tried. But the enemies now are going to be scared of him, Mo, and that's the most important thing. They're scared. They know that he has it.
He's hanging it off his belt loop, Falconic. They know it's there. They don't know he can't swing it, but they're gonna see it and go, no thank you.
It's like that movie Princess Bride where he's laying in bed and he's like, yeah, just turn yourself over. Just give in. He can't swing his arm, but the enemy doesn't know that.
Meanwhile, on the right side, Caleb's still fighting enemies.
But he's finally utilizing the Bane Sword.
He's also, unfortunately, out of heal spells on the White Mage. And we've still got a lot of Waterfall in front of us.
Yeah, this is risky. I mean, I like the early dive. I think it takes guts, and if it pays off, it's going to pay off well. But it's not fun to do this low level and without any heal pots.
Yeah, but if he can get out of here, keep these levels, that'll put him in a better place. Will made a dive into Cardia Islands, and all he found in that one was a light axe, which could come in real good handy here soon, and then a pro ring, which we all know.
Oh boy.
And still trying to flip that board.
Caleb takes a wipe just shy of getting out of Waterfall, and he's going right back in. No fear whatsoever.
I like it. I like the guts on this. I mean, no, I like the guts on this. Just no condition at all. Just keep going. We can do this. If we get a fine encounter table, we can do this.
I like it, but his first time through, I don't think he power cycled. I think he just saved and then went in. And then this time he did not reset going in. So I'm wondering if he's going to face the same bad enemies, but maybe have an easier walkout, depending on how the encounter table is. But you can tell he's not totally comfortable manipulating them in his favor just yet.
I think this is an okay version of the manipulation. Yes, sure, it would have been nice to power cycle the first time we went in, but we didn't do that. So we know that the version of the encounter table we're getting on this second trip in is going to be different than the one we got on the first trip in. And this one we get on the third trip in is different than the one we got on the second trip in. We're just going to keep hoping against hope that we hit the nice sweet spot in the table, that we get all the good runs we need to get in and out.
Yeah, and he does know the enemies to maybe nuke down really fast, the ones to run away from at this point, which seem to be mostly mud goals, but he has that knowledge going into here of which ones to not meander around with.
It's an interesting gamble for only a bottle, though. That's the only part that's got me hung up a little bit at all. I like the tenacity of going back in with the wipe and picking up levels, but he did find out what the item was at the end. It's the bottle. It doesn't really do him too good at the moment, but
the bottle is fine, but it's the levels that I would be much more interested in carrying out.
Yeah, he was getting the levels. He knows floaters for sale, so he knows he can make use of that bottle even if we don't know what it's going to be.
That's
but
it.
He at least knows
I forgot
he's
about
not
the floater. He's getting his money here.
Yeah,
as well.
He's not floating in the wind here thinking he's wasting time. He knows where the floater's at least at, so he knows how to get more mobile. So maybe he's hoping this will pay out to something that he actually wants early game. Maybe a ribbon that he's hoping for, or maybe just an item that he wants to go ahead and check off and start getting the XP buff.
We found Blaze. We found Blaze from our Hydras.
Ugh.
Oh, we're going to see them again and again, too. Anna Maniac joining us in chat. Welcome, Anna.
Suddenly this Volcano Armory check is no longer the safe play it could have been.
No, but a little bit safer than we're seeing Waterfall being right now. He does have life, so he's bringing up his party. He faced this last time. He knows how to get out of here, try and maybe spread some resources a little bit more thin this time. And we see our first loose item, which is the Slab and Volcano Armory.
Alright. That's a thing we can deal with right now.
It's not a bad pickup. That gets one loose item out of the way pretty early on. So Will's already putting that down on his tracker and his mental notes, maybe on some paper notes. This is one loose item, so from here on out, I'm going to check chests. Once I find that second, I'm just going to stop checking, unless I just really, really need gear. But he's going to go out of here and he's going to save so he doesn't lose that item. Or he's going to fly right away and make me a fool on commentary, as Will usually does.
I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I do not like double dips.
I don't either. Oh, okay, he doesn't have the bottle from Waterfall, but he did just find that Gaia is Gaia.
Okay, that's one half of the equation.
2 vanilla towns as well.
Yeah, sure.
That's actually, we're going to find 4 vanilla towns, right? Because Crescent Lake was Crescent Lake, Onrac was Onrac, Gaia is Gaia, which tells us Lefane is Lefane.
No, Lefane was Elfland.
No, Elfland, that's right.
Yeah.
Listen here, Blues Clues.
Melman. Yeah.
Don't solve this mystery for us before it's over. Caleb making a little bit of a misroute there, but quickly corrected, so he's not going the wrong way. He's getting close to the outskirts, but he's very low on his 2 fighters there.
Oh, those Mudgalls hit. That was 1 slam for 105 damage.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot take much more of that.
He's so close to getting out, but that sleep from Mudgull is just ruining his night.
Oh, but he gets away from that encounter. Closer and closer. There we go. We exited so he can save here. Save here. Oh,
save!
okay.
Baby girl, save!
Save!
Maybe he's gonna heal first. Yep. Yep. Okay, he healed first. Hey. Smart play. I'll take it. We get out of the waterfall. We have levels. We have the bottle. We know where the floater is at. He just became a little bit ahead of Will since he doesn't know where that bottle is. And if it turns into something that we need, like a chime, a key, a loot, even, that might buy him some time against Will. But then we see Cremate, and he's gonna reset.
Say what you will about the match. Will might be winning the game, but Caleb is winning hearts and minds with this waterfall dive. Already a huge fan.
I'm ecstatic over Caleb's waterfall play here. Sure, it would not have been the choice that I made, but gosh dang if he didn't commit to it and just see it through and actually carry that bottle out.
Yeah, the tenacity to go in, wipe, and go in and walk it out. This man has some gumption on him, and I like it.
I have late breaking news. They have changed the podcast name from Rafe Hates Caleb to Caleb Hates Waterfall.
We see Fade and Cure 4 at level 5 for white magic as we hear the absolutely wonderful music on Will's side.
That Cure 4 is out of the range of red mages, though, which is a little unfortunate.
And I believe that Warp is as well. I don't remember if
they can get it before or after promotion, but I know they can get it. It's the 3rd slot I think that red might be locked out of even after promotion. And Will taking a grind outside of Lefane really wants something out of there. Sure isn't pure potions, though.
Not this game. Will's definitely going to test our auditory viewers here. We are pointing out in chat. Blame Mono. Yeah, that's fair. Blame Mono.
Sure. Find him, blame him.
Point, laugh, blame. All of the above. Caleb is going to make that grind to try and afford that. He can't afford the floater just yet. So I think he's trying to get some money here so that he can walk that out of here, go get that, and be mobile.
That makes sense.
I know it seems like the opposite thing to do, to spend a little bit of money when you're trying to earn some money, but an in visit right now would refresh those nuke levels and make these fights just a little bit faster for Caleb.
Mm-hmm. And these are little things he'll notice when he watches this back. I really think it's a lot of first game, first tournament, first restream jitters. This man is hit with all 3 of the trifecta of nerves right now. New to the community, new to the tournament, new to the randomizer, and he's put on center stage against the man, the voice himself of this community, Willcleosis. If he's not sweating in his chair, I'm sweating for him.
Right. But he's definitely holding his own, I think.
Yeah.
Easy.
There's definite progression being made here.
Yeah, I just think this is the little things he'll watch back and go, why did I just go save and get some nuke charges? I mean, but that all comes with experience and being more comfortable with the play. But I think we're seeing just little things like that here, just because just every aspect we're dealing with here tonight.
And that's...
Meanwhile, on the left side of the screen, we solved the mystery. Will wanted warp.
Warp's a huge find, especially with Ice Cave on the play here. I think that's why it's better for somebody to jump in my opinion. It's better for someone to jump in kind of feet first, or just, well, I guess dive in head first, not feet first, but head first into the randomizer in a tournament. Because if you just kind of practice the randomizer on your own and you get a rough seed right off the bat, it can be really discouraging. But when you join the tournament, you're kind of obligated, not so much, but to play 5 matches over the 5 weeks, you're going to get that experience in. You're going to start to learn some of the community members, have a little bit more fun. I think Caleb's going to do just that, and guarantee you, at the end of Swiss here, Caleb's going to look back and be a completely different runner.
He's
Speaking
making
of
the
Caleb
play
and
that I
fun.
really like.
Speaking of Caleb and fun, we've got that sea dive. She ran into unrunnable ghosts and they punched our face in. That's fine.
He
we
did,
just
but
have to go in again and hope that doesn't happen.
he did find the money in that first chest there that he would need to make up the difference for the floater.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I really want to see him complete that. And then Will's dead to me because not only is he still with the poison sound, but he also killed a Tyro. So we're just not going to focus on his match for the rest of this round. The remainder is going to be Caleb and the Caleb show only.
And we're headed to the left side of the first floor.
I've got a question.
This is
Does
some
Will
interesting
hate all of us? Why is he? Why are we having to listen to this poison sound?
My theory at this point is that we're using the most expensive pure we have, which is a Life 2 charge.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not bringing anybody back to life, so I don't know that he has Life 2. Does he?
Yeah, he bought
Going in
like,
2 Manon.
I think maybe this is a level play.
Talk to the old man, see if he has Life 2. No answer.
I don't know if I should be honored or scared that I'm the only mage left alive. Do I know my fate that is coming to me, or will I be the one with all of the charges? Either way, we're gonna see Wout and myself just dragging behind 2 dead bodies behind us, still trying to equip
You
that.
still can't use it, Will.
And we're just gonna keep hearing the beautiful sounds of ordeals.
Yes, we've dropped one annoying sound for another.
If that isn't life, I don't know what is. Fix one problem, but another one comes right up.
Caleb still making a go of it. First floor of C. Possibly on his way out, but sea snakes always get in the way.
I don't mind this play. I know it's kind of scary, but with an inn right outside, this is a good place to pick up 2-3 levels that he severely needs.
Yeah, and some money for that floater.
I could swear I saw Brax somewhere. We've got Quad X. Yeah, no, we're doing this. We got everything we need to complete C right now. And this would be a crucial clawback of time if we could make it through all of this and come up with the second loose item.
And if nothing else, we just scathed out with enough money to buy that floater, some supplies. He's gonna go straight for that airship, get that, and then maybe circle back, but the more important part is having the mobility of being in the air right now. Maybe he feels a little bit behind, maybe he thinks he'll find something in Cardia. Time will tell. Maya pointing out in chat, houses were pretty cheap, buy those instead. Yeah, that's another thing that he may look back on. Those obviously give you spell charges where cabins and tents don't. And I heard it's cheaper to buy a house than rent, so it's always a good play as well.
Caleb's heading northeast, possibly going to be joining Will. No, wait, hang on. Figuring out the terrain. Here we go. Yep, we're going to Ordeals. That's what we're doing.
This is where I would have liked for him to get some houses, just in case, but
we got
he's
one.
going
That's
straight
fine.
to it, so he's fine. He saved at the end before sailing his happy little ship over here. Will not finding so much yet. Cabin, a little bit of money here and there.
$17.
Flame
Yeah,
armor, that's a
$20.
great pickup. And ice shield.
Sure.
And cube. Will's favorite item.
Will has found his cube. Clearly he's unstoppable at this point.
Will he forget it? We'll find out. But gosh dang it. The man has his cube.
Mm-hmm. So what are we going to do with this zombie D? I mean, we clearly have to kill one of them. We're in a two-man formation. Are we going to just burn charges and leave, or are we going to do everything? Stinger's annoying, but we can only be poisoned once.
Yeah, with Light Axe and Nuke, I think you at least have to burn down your Fire 2 and Nuke charges, but he's doing Zap.
That's not going to get him very far, I don't think.
Well,
Zombie D might be weak to a lot of things, but their natural MDef, I think, puts it out of Zap range.
Yeah, and then he went to go do Nuke, decided out of that, and then fired back with a Fire 2 and is hightailing it out of here with his melody of distress.
C-Note 58 in chat. Does Zap work on Undead? Yes, Zap is time-based, and the only enemy in the game that straight up has a resistance to time is Chaos. Doesn't mean it's always going to work, though, because MDef can negate it mostly. But
Right. The downside of Zap is that it has garbage accuracy, but nothing resists it, so at least it has that going for it.
You can rip my Zap from my cold dead hands. We see Caleb not far behind where Will was. Getting through Ordeals, 4-man party, so maybe he'll be a little bit better off in here, especially with those zombies on his way out, because they do have to walk out, they don't have exit, they don't have warp yet. I gotta think he'll maybe do a little bit better, but aside from actually getting the cube and some levels, he's not too far behind Will right now. He doesn't have the slab and he doesn't have that translated, but in the grand scheme of things, if that slab doesn't turn into something that we want, I mean...
Yeah, I'm very impressed with Caleb so far. Considering the adversity in Waterfall, where Will's going now, he's not far behind at all.
No, and he's going to pick up some great armor here for one of his fighters. He's going to feel good about that. I like this.
From this point, though, we got to go get that airship. That's got to be our next destination. We've had the floater for too long. I agree with the play of sailing to Ordeals. That's fine. We're still in the area, but we got to head straight from here to get the airship.
Yeah, just needs to go north and east, and he'll get there. No problem, and I think that is what we're going to see him do. He's going to run from these zombies. He's not even going to just even deal with them like Will did. So he's going to save a little bit of time there. Levels aren't too bad. 4-man party. This is impressive. We talked about him maybe being the secret in the shadows dark horse, and as the sea progresses, we're seeing him come more and more out of his shell and really make up that gap that he made between himself and Will here.
I'll say it. I'm impressed with some of the routing calls I've seen so far. Ordinarily, when you have people that are new to Final Fantasy Randomizer, they like to stick to the safe plays. You know, they'll stick with do the volcano and then ice cave and then maybe consider after that because that's vanilla progression. It's what we're familiar with. But Caleb's just going off and doing whatever, and most of it I like.
Yeah, working out pretty well. Greg Lee Puff, thank you for joining us, asking for a recap. Mo, if you don't mind, I'm going to pop that off real quick and throw it back over to you for your thought.
You have,
at the start, King gave us Oxyel, Princess gave us TNT, Bicky the Pirate gave us the Adamant, the Blacksmith gave the Canoe, Sages gave us the Rod, Robot was holding the bottle, Sarda was holding out on his Titan friend next door, he had the Ruby, Ordeals gave us the cube. So far we found one loose item. It was the slab. It was located in Volcano Armory. And the vendor item was the floater in Onrac for 15k.
Great recap, Falconic. Way to read off that entire list of things really quick there. My only thought was to add on to Fizzle here. He was talking about the routing plates he's making and how newcomers really like to stick to the inner continent like vanilla would force you into. Not only have we opened up that inner continent with extended and open progression on, we also gave them a free canal. So once you have that ship, you have a lot of mobility to land on docks that you never knew before, and Caleb is absolutely navigating those beautifully for the most part. I mean, he's doing awesome. He's at his airship now, just like we thought he was going to go to after that Ordeals play, so I'm really happy to see this, and I'm really impressed.
But now we've got the floater, and we've got our airboat. Where are we going from here? Sarda's the obvious play. But once we clear Sarda, where are we going after that?
You know, at this point, before Sarda, because that's just a free item, I might make this Volcano Armory check just real quick to see what's in there. But other than going straight to Sarda, which we know is going to be the Ruby for Titan, which leads to nothing, after that obvious play, I mean, I would like to think he'd be here at Volcano or Ice. Maybe a little bit too level, less comfortable with Ice right now, especially doesn't have the warp, doesn't have the exit, has to do a lot of walking in there. I think he probably feels more comfortable in this volcano. And it could yield an orb for him, so he's going to have that orb lead that he doesn't know that he's going to have if he finishes this, but...
Meanwhile, Willcleosis having some trouble with the mummy pack, dealing with the stun touch. Poor Woat, just down on one knee, taking a breather. Trying to melee this Wiz Mummy down, gets through.
Fizzle, what do you think about danning a red and a white when you've got Nuke, Life 2, Cure 4? What?
I am confused and intrigued. There's clearly some sort of strategy at work, and I'm eager to see where it goes.
I'm here for this adventure. I would think that he likes the early magic and wants to get as much charges as he can on there. Maybe he wants to wow the crowd that Willcleosis doesn't normally take just a two-man strat. Maybe he wants to branch out and give the fans a real show here tonight. We obviously don't know what's going on in his mind right now, but we'd love to pick it after the show once we get into our interviews post-game. But right now, all we can speculate is that maybe he feels comfortable with this. I don't want a two-man on this Swiss Seeds, but...
I talked with Willcleosis before the match to try and get a handle on how he was feeling, and the one thing he said was that his plan for a party was that he knew for a 100% fact that Caleb was going to be taking a black mage, and thus planned around it. So from that, I think we can.
Wrong.
I think we can gather that our two runners are operating off of different pages, but that's okay because they're putting on one heck of a show. Need to point out something the R-Hydras did caused Petrify.
They had glance.
Ooh.
After their blaze, they had glance.
Oh. Just continuing to encounter bad thing after bad thing. You hate to see it, but sometimes that's how the randomizer goes.
Yeah, that's the randomizer. It's hard to watch as a fan, but even harder to play when you're the person in the seed.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a little bit of relief going, Gators have cremate. That sucks. Will right now is probably like, freaking Gators! Cremate! Maybe throwing some things around his office room, but fans have it a little bit easier here. I'm gonna see Caleb clear the entire first floor of Volcano there. Doesn't find much else, does have stone, and I don't think he has soft yet to bring Gary up from that. But I would imagine he's probably gonna walk out of here with this.
If we're really just doing this as an armory check and nothing else, I have to imagine that our next destination has got to be Canaria so that we can load up on softs.
I don't know that this is just going to be an armory check at this point. He is clearing the first floor, which is great, because it's the most time-consuming one. You really have to walk around for this one, and if he comes back later, he knows he can skip this entire thing and just run through the lava, skip encounters. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what his plan here is yet, but, I've been on board this whole time. I'm not getting off this roller coaster yet.
Meanwhile, our bottle turn-in. Tiny Fairy gives us the chime. Sure. Mirage is on the table now. That's a thing we can do. I don't know that I would be willing to do it with only 2 people at this level, but it's a thing we can do.
I'm gonna go with no on that one. At least for me. I would not do Mirage and Sky Clear at this level with just 2 people, not class change, with the small amount of spells that I have.
Caleb wipes on the way out of the volcano, dies to Rave Scorpions.
But he's gonna get this XP fight, which can get him some levels to run out and save with. He knows which chest to hit this time, so it's not so bad. He didn't gain too much of a level and experience gain in there so much as it was a knowledge check.
That's true, we do know where all the chests are, so I think rather than run out and save immediately after the Pede fight, let's just go get the chests that we want and then head out.
Mm-hmm. We could see him go either way with this, but in all honesty, that wipe doesn't put him too much in the danger zone of being too far behind Will. He knows which chests he needs, which ones he doesn't now, and he just gained a level on a lot of his light warriors there. So, take the good with the bad.
Meanwhile, our very own brave boy, Mr. Willcleosis, is taking his 2-man level 20 show to Sea Shrine. I'm interested in this. This is piqued my curiosity.
It's Mo and Wout against the world. Sadly for him, Wout is a sun sword lover and I'm a risk taker. I don't think those two go together.
Nope, he has decided that Sea Shrine is too much for him right now. First encounter stop, he has decided, we're not doing this, we're gone. See ya.
Come back later. Nice knowing you. I'll send you a postcard. Hello from Malibu. We're gonna see Caleb keep making his dive here through Volcano. Will looked like he wanted to make an ice play and then quickly went back. Maybe he needs some supplies here from the Elfland. Or he's gonna go for the Marsh play.
We're gonna dirtle around, do some donuts in the inner sea, and yeah, let's try Marsh. Maybe Marsh is the thing we feel like
that
doing.
Boat all over the wading pool. Really make waves. Piss off some soccer moms, and here we are in Marsh.
I think dirtle's the perfect word for that.
He's going straight for the bottom. He's going to ignore the north side for now, knowing there's some link chests, but he'll come back and probably clear out the north. But he's more interested in what the incentive item here is.
I think at this level, we can afford the time to just full clear Marsh, because we still got that loose item somewhere on the table. And there's boxes in here, and there is no worse feeling in the world than double dipping Marsh.
I think double dipping anything feels bad, but here in chat, if we say anything that you're a little bit unclear on, please give us a shout out. We're more than happy to kind of, explain a little bit more. I know we get caught in our jargon here, and we'd love to make everybody feel welcome and inclusive here, so if there's anything we say that's a little bit confusing, please call us out. We will definitely give you an explanation, and be more than happy to kind of tell you who's in the lead, why we think they might be in the lead. I know we get definitely in our little circles here of joking around, but please let us know.
Alright, let's nuke some lizards and let's see what's in the box. The herb. Sure, it's a thing we could do.
Yeah, plants probably grow in marshlands. That's not too out of the... Probably a nice little fern down there.
Yeah.
Not a bad pickup at all, seeing how he's this close to Elfland Castle. I don't hate that at all if I were him.
But we're leaving the top floor on the table. We're leaving that weird far right chest on the table. Will's playing fast and loose with skipping chests. I hope this doesn't come back to bite him.
Round from Prince.
Sure.
Also, not a bad pickup because we're right near Northwest Castle, so you don't hate to see that if you will, because you're not wasting a lot of time going down that fetch quest line. Caleb continuing to make his way down Volcano, finding a light axe which will come in handy for him, a little bit of money, but not another loose item yet or anything too much of note.
Okay, Crystal. We're on Fetch Quest 2019 here.
Caleb found dragon armor.
Or as Rando likes to call it, dragon armor.
Dragon armor.
It's a good find. He can't use it just yet, but
no, it's always a shame to find all this adult gear before we can actually use any of it.
Question in chat: did the Vorpal find earlier go to Will's head? Yeah, probably.
Ribbon. Ribbon. Caleb finds a ribbon.
There's a lot of good stuff in the
Volcano.
bottom part of this volcano that Will has missed out on for the moment. Crystal turns into a loot. Nothing in the Matoya boxes.
No, but a much-needed endgame item there. So, again, Will going through his checklist of things he's going to need here. He's going to need the loot. He's going to need the key to get in Temple of Fiends Revisited. He has the chime and the cube to knock out Mirage and Sky. He has the Oxyl to knock out Sea, and also the rod to get through Earth. he's got to be feeling pretty comfortable at this point.
Storming into Ice Cave, Mr. Willcleosis. We have warp charges. I wonder if we're going to be seeing a bit of an eye grind to try and pad out our 2-man levels, because he's running from a lot of encounters, and that's traditionally not what you do in a 2-man strat. So I wonder if this is going to be his chance to correct what's been going on.
Will's definitely taking some risks here. Caleb playing a little bit on the safer side, which is great. I mean, he's not behind by any means. He can knock out an orb here, which is going to put him in at least the orb lead. Has some key items to find yet, but this is good. This is in no means bad. It doesn't put him behind. This could easily be, if Will runs into some things and wipes with his 2-man, the part of the game where Caleb closes every gap by just playing safe and smart.
Unrunnable Red D. I don't know, half the time they're quad-exable. Let's try it.
Or poison smoke.
or poison smoke, sure. It's not quite 3 and 256, but it's down there. Gold bracelet, sure. We need armor on our mages. So Caleb, at around the 57-minute mark, is going to be inching his way towards the Fiend of Fire, trying to light that first orb. Be the first orb lit of the match. If it's even an average carry, I think he's got a shot.
I would agree. He has some spell charges left. He has a 4-man party. I wouldn't feel bad going into this unless carry is just absolutely unreasonable. A level 10 and 11, it might be a little bit low for some people, but I wouldn't feel bad about this.
Alright. Here we go. Bane Sword coming out. We got Nuke. And Fight out of the White Mage. 1 hit, 1 damage. Bane Sword comes out, ineffective. Swinging the sword, 2 hits, 2 damage. We're gonna have to lean on Nuke for this. Only 109. We're gonna need a lot more power than that. We're out of heal 3s, so we're gonna rely on heal 1 for this. Bane Sword comes out, it's ineffective. Carry has Death Touch, tied to sound the alarm bells.
Uh-oh.
This has gone from bad to worse. We've got 1 nuke left.
Oh, he does it!
He does it! Caleb, our first runner at 59 minutes and 31 seconds, the first to light an orb here in our race tonight. 2 light warriors still alive. Harry tried to disrespect him and he said, no, not today. I'm walking out, I want that orb, and I'm not leaving until I get it.
That was close. At level 10, Death Touch Fiend is literally the worst news you could get, especially Carry. Carry tends to have somewhere around, I don't know, 4 to 6 hits. That's a lot of hits for Death Touch to proc on, which means it's gonna be procking pretty much all of the time. So to actually make it through that with a win, that's good.
It's impressive, and I absolutely love the fact that he went in there, because that's something I would do, and whether people think it's smart, it's dumb, it pays off sometimes, and in this case, it paid off. I absolutely love it. And Carrie is a very wild card. Sometimes she's nice, sometimes she's a pushover, and sometimes she's an absolute just jerk, like she was just then. But he came out of it. He has an orb, he has the orb lead, and he's going straight into ice. He's knocking out this con, he's knocking out his incentives, and he has an orb.
Excellent use of just routing by proximity. We're at Volcano, we finished Volcano. Ice is still on the table to do, it's 3 feet away, let's go do it. I love it.
Yeah, I couldn't be happier to call this match right now. And I was a little bit apprehensive because we're in a 3-man booth, and it's a lot like an overbooked American Airlines flight right now. But I love this, and I love the crew I'm on. Obviously, I have my ties to Volcanic. Lord Thistlebeat, me and him have gotten some time to work together lately. And I love this play. I love calling Willcleosis matches, and we see Caleb making just absolute awesome plays, and I'm ecstatic.
Right there with you, Mo. Do you think Caleb feels a little bit better now that he knows Death Touch is behind him?
It's definitely a thing to just say, great. Stone Touch and Death Touch are the two super dangerous things in any given seed, and to have one of those already behind you, that would certainly be a load off my back, because now I know that Death Touch isn't going to be in Topher or on Bridge of Destiny or something like that. Hey, Power Staff on Willcleosis' side. That's a good bender staff.
We're gonna see our runners kind of take a long high five there together, both in the ice cave at the same time.
You know what time it is, right? You guys know what time it is?
Go ahead and tell us, Volcanic.
It's time for Willcleosis to go turn in that tail, get class promoted, and I get the feeling we all know exactly what's going to happen first.
If we don't see, like, 4 donuts in the airship and fanfare as he equips the Vorpal, I'm going to be disappointed.
Fury Box Gaming, one of Caleb's fans in chat, wants to know from the booth people as he shakes his pamphlet. How long have you guys been in the scene?
I think that varies between us all. I might be the newer person here in this scene, and a great newer fan of Caleb here. I guess embarrassingly, I've been binge watching his podcast all morning since I heard that Will was going to be on it. I've just been going down that rabbit hole of listening to more.
I mean, I'm the old man in the community here. I've been in, I'm pretty sure, at least a year at this point. I don't even know anymore. It's been a whirlwind of a trip. Just keeping up with the community, keeping up with the randomizer as it constantly evolves, with our on-the-ball dev team. It's been an adventure so far, and I hope it never ends.
It's been about a year for me as well. I joined just before last year's spring tournament, like literally 2 days before it started. I signed up and just started playing, so about a year. But you pick it up quick, and the community that we have, I think, is one of the most welcoming that you'll find. Mama Duck herself, Moist Mogwai, in the booth, is kind of the one that spearheads getting new players caught up to speed, teaching routing, how to play the game, weapons, spell cast levels, breakpoints, the whole nine. Has Mogwai Power, the magazine. So if you guys are watching in, you like what you see, you think that you might want to give this a shot, do not hesitate, by all means, to just jump into the Discord and hit up the new player help section. We've got tons of information for you, lots of friendly people that are going to help you out. And case in point, I got a lot of the stuff that I do from just kind of watching Fizzle and Tarnin and Czar and Willcleosis, so tons of people here to help out.
Yeah,
As
just
we
to
were
echo
talking
this.
there, Will was
Go ahead.
staring at his inventory, trying to figure out where to go next, trying to figure out where he can take this two-man party. I think he's settled on a return trip to sea.
But did you see what he did before he made that return vacation to Maui? Or did you leave?
Something about a blue sword. I'm unclear on the details.
I think he turned 21. He equipped the Vorpal. He got his armor that he wanted on there, and I think he's feeling a little bit better here as a class change party with his favorite sword equipped.
A bright move, equipping the Vorpal immediately.
I think there's some bias going on in the booth right now. It's not something I'll stand for.
I said it's his favorite sword. You know, my bias aside, it is Will's favorite sword, and we can all agree on that.
Caleb making decent work out of the ice cave. Managing to mostly keep up with Will. Still has that one orb advantage at this point, but Will is looking to try to figure out where he can go. I guess we're gonna try C again and hope we don't get stopped and booted out again.
He's got to feel a little bit more comfortable now. And as soon as he runs into an unrunnable entire screen of Wissahags and Arsahags, feels a little bit less comfortable. But he definitely has some harder swings here, some more spell charges since he's seen it the first time. So unless he sees anything especially, absolutely, incredibly nasty, I think he's okay in here.
Lightning 3 is going to rip through the Sahag pack, which is the annoying person in C. It's the guy that constantly runs up to you and says, "Hey, have you seen my kids? Here's some pictures." You can't get away from them. And then you just kind of get away from them just long enough, and before you know it, he's back again.
I would say a wallet full, but I think that's a little bit past our time and showing my age because it's a cell phone camera roll now. But back in my day, we kept pictures in wallets, and you could only hold anywhere from 4 to 8 at a time.
We chiseled them into stone. Meanwhile, Caleb is still in the ice cave. I think made a return trip to the eye floor. Or no, still on the bottom floor.
He just got his tail out of here. Did not use warp, but got his tail.
Okay. A bit of a setback, but as long as we can carry that out, I think we'll be in business.
Yeah, then he can class change, use some of the armor he's been picking up along the way, pick up some spells on his knights. More importantly, once they class change.
I gotta say, I'm a little bit surprised Will hasn't visited the mermaids yet. That's typically one of the plays he likes to do.
Will does love to go say hi to his ladies.
I think he's doing the more sensible play, which is you clear Kraken side, and then if Kraken side doesn't have our one remaining loose item, then we do mermaids. I preach that, I never do that. Because it's always like, hey, we're looking for a loose item. There's a lot of boxes in mermaids. Let's go there first. And usually, 2/3 of the way there, it's just like, oh, this isn't the order I should be doing this in. It's something I need to scold myself about, so I can't be too hard on him about this.
No, I like the play of going straight and getting the orb first, going to the more direct path, and then making my play to maybe find some armor, some weapons, or whatever else I'm looking for. So I'm in the same boat as you, Fizzle. I mean, I can't hate on this play, but I'm so set in my ways that it's hard to look at it in a different way. Which doesn't make it wrong, it just makes it that I'm old. I'm old. I'm stubborn. What can I say? We're gonna see Caleb still make his way to the ice cave. Will is gonna continue diving down here. Gonna be to Kraken's floor very soon. He just found the Thor hammer, which is a pretty good pickup if his red mage, Mo, runs out of spell charges. He's gonna go ahead and make me another liar and just put it right on Woat. Because he wants Woat to have all the power and all the control and all the fun spells. And
I think it's just a matter of we want Woat to have some form of functional AoE. We've been making do with a light axe at this point, and that's great, but only against undead. The Thor hammer is like the exact opposite of that end of the spectrum. The Thor hammer is fine for everything.
Yeah, it's a good play to have in your knight as well, just to have something on your knight in case maybe you're at a high ward enemy, or you're not swinging as hard as you thought you would, or you just see a giant pack. Your knight can only hit one person at a time. So you have your red mage sitting there doing AoE, maybe your knight can throw out some too. So it's a good play.
So Caleb, fresh out of the ice cave, is headed north to Cardia. Gonna do the Cardia checks and the tail turn and all at once.
Good use of his routing here. He didn't check it before because he knew, or he had hoped that he would be back here with that tail. He's gonna pick up that light axe, which is a good pickup. Something to have on one of his light warriors. He's obviously rocking 4 while Will is going with the 2, so he has a little bit of room to play with that more than Will does. Will has to be very exact and decisive with the actions that he's taking and the equipment shuffling that he's doing, and I think he's doing a great job of it, but Caleb has a little bit more leniency with that.
No, Will's doing a great job with 2-man strats, but the 2-man strats are dangerous. And as we see here, we get into an encounter with things with stop, fires off, suddenly both our people are down. That's not where you want to be in a 2-man party.
I don't know what else to say than not at all. That's not what you want to see on your screen. If both of your 2 people that can hit do damage and get you out of this on their knee as you just roll through screen after screen after screen after screen. This is the exact time that runners just...
Oh! Mo went down.
Oh, Mo's down.
Mogwai down.
Mogwai down? Call an ambulance. 911? This is exactly what we're talking about, though. You don't want to see this. You don't want to see yourself caught in that loop of people just getting hit and hit and hit and then inevitably die, if that ends up being the case. This is probably the most frustrating thing for runners to get into that, because you have no way out. You can't strategize against that. You can't hit them. You can't throw out a spell. You're just stuck. And it's annoying.
Will is considering his options, rearranging gear a bit. He's gonna make a go of Kraken 1 with only the single knight alive. We're far enough down in the dungeon that I'm kind of behind this. I'm like 2 parts in favor of this, 1 part in favor of just take the loss, just reset. We need to carry a mage the distance, but it'll be interesting to see how this goes.
I like it. You're this far in, you're invested. Go for it. Because your time of coming back with your full party, which is only 2 members at this point, and you're likely to maybe have that same luck that you had the first time through. So what are you really gaining by resetting and making that trek back? But he's also playing it very well. These parties, he's wiping out with that Thor hammer that he put on his knight to get some AoE damage out there. So he knows he's a single hitter. That's all he has left. He's giving himself the abilities to run through this. Whether or not it'll pay out, I don't know, but I do really like this play, and I would make the same one, to be honest.
Getting also a little lucky with encounters along the way. The Urshark Big Eye fight is definitely one of the better ones to be taking, especially just with the 1 person left alive. This is going to pad on even more levels and make it even more likely we're going to survive this squid fight.
Yeah, and we're going to see Killed make his way out of class change. He is now upgraded from what Falconic likes to call it, no longer a Muppet baby. So he's going to be able to equip the Big Kid armor and the Big Kid swords, and also, more importantly, get the spells that he wants on those double knights that he now has. So level 1, level 2 magic.
We're going to be very happy to see life 2 on those knights. Oh, here's Lefane. We don't want it. Get back in the bus. Let's go somewhere else.
That's another thing about these flag sets for newer people or just nervous people is remembering where towns are. In this case, Canaria is always going to be at Canaria, so he knows he can come back here and get those. But as far as other ones that he thought he might hit along the way, unless you're taking detailed notes, even if you do chicken scratch shorthand that you think you're going to remember later, you may not. I've been there. We've all been there.
I will say that we made comment earlier that, LOL, there's so many vanilla towns even though Town Shuffle is on. I feel like that makes Town Shuffle even worse because it's a lot easier to think, okay, all the towns are jumbled around. But now not only do we have to remember which towns are actually shuffled, we also have to remember what they're shuffled to. And that can be annoying.
And then also the ones that we want to go back to. Maybe we put the towns down, but we didn't put which spells were in which slots. Maybe we didn't put what the item shops or the armor shops had that we wanted to tail back to, because you're like, I'll remember where gold bracelets are. I wouldn't forget that. 10 out of 10 times I will forget that.
I mean, I'll let you in on a secret in terms of what do I buy for magic for my knight or for my ninja, in the case that I have 2 of those. I cheat and I look at my red mage. If it was good enough to buy on my red mage, it's good enough to buy on them.
I'm in that same boat. If I honestly forget where spells were, I'll look at white magic, black magic. What do I have levels? I'll go to those towns. If because more than likely I have written down what those towns end up being, and I'll like you said, I'll cheat even though it's not. I'll look at my spells and give myself a pat on the back.
It's not actually cheating, but to people who take time to make notes, it's like, hey, wait a minute. And blink and you miss it. Willcleosis slammed through Kraken 1. Water orb lit. Let's head back inside. Figure out what them mermaids are all about. I hope we picked the red mage up off the ground.
We didn't res the red mage.
We did not.
Why?
We don't need a red mage. Solo strats.
Okay,
Sure.
Mo's had a hard week. She's a little tired. She needs a nap. He's letting her sleep in.
I wonder if this is... Oh, well, he's stunned now and he's going to pay for this move. But yeah, there's the reset.
Yep.
I wonder if this is Will's way of trying to get that extra hit of the Vorpal before Topher. I mean, it's a long way away, but
yeah, we got a lot of ground between us and Topher. And if we're smart about our encounter choices, which in 2-man is going to be like 2/3 of them, we'll hit that without even trying. But we're headed back inside. We still don't have a red mage. I am confuzzled as to what exactly is going on here. because the clinic's like right there. Like you just walk inside, you give the man $20, you have a red mage, and then you just walk over to the inn, and now suddenly we're twice as survivable on our trip to mermaids as we presently are. I am confused.
It's definitely another question we're gonna save for the commentary booth. Because like I said, with things like this, we can only speculate what he's doing, and then at some point we're just all raising our hands and going, what?
What?
But then our runners will come back with a good reason or a solid thing, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we only have one half of the equation, really. We can see what they're doing, but we can't really know why they're doing it. We can make guesses all we want, but sometimes we're way off on what the thought process actually is here. Right side of our screen, Caleb, making the journey to Lefane Melmond, picking up level 5 spells. We've got our Fade, we've got our Cure 4, we've got our Warp. Unfortunately, we've done Waterfall and we've done Ice Cave and we've done Ordeals. So the real prime targets of Warp are kind of done and out of the way. But we've still got Marsh in front of us, I believe. Warp does work in Mirage and Sky. It can do work in Sea if you really, utilize it correctly. It's good for grinding in Topher. We'll still see use out of it, I think. And Caleb making the bold play. We're headed to Mirage. I like it. I love it.
I love it. And at the same time, Will just wiped, and he's doing exactly what we said he should have done. And I think he was a little bit too confident in that solo night.
I had a very conflicting moment there with my brain. I saw Caleb going to Mirage, and I was happy, but I heard the Death Wipe Party music, and my brain didn't know how to really balance that.
Question in chat, is there a reason runners always clip the corners of that lake and rivers in general? Interesting question. When navigating around the world, every step ticks away at what we refer to as the encounter table. But there are some instances where the step count does not tick over. If you are no dock tile is on the encounter table. So any step you take on a dock tile means that's not an encounter, as an example. The same with entering and exiting a river. So if you can just adjust your pathing slightly so you enter and exit. So we're on our way back from Lefane. We enter and exit on that upper right corner, and then we enter and exit in that weird middle corner. That's 4 tiles that we have shaved off the encounter table. Just to pad out the distance before we get our next encounter. It's something I encourage a lot of runners to do. It might not seem like it saves time, but it can.
Absolutely can. That plus, take a look at Will's screen here. When he enters this room, he's going to walk along the bottom wall. When you're entering a room, the bottom row of tiles that are on the same wall as the door also encounter free. So you're going to see a lot of veteran runners like Will hug the bottom and then go up, because that entire bottom walk, it's free. You're not advancing your step counter or your encounter rate that Fizzle was talking about.
Yeah.
Some of the weird shape rooms break that rule, but on the whole, you want to try to stick to the bottom of any room you enter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and these are some of the things I still scream at myself, especially like entering and exiting like your first encounter under the water to kind of shave off a step there. They mentioned that I'm the person that teaches the new players, and I am, and welcome to anybody who wants to come into the community and kind of dip their feet into the water, get warm, see if it's for you. It's more of a do as I say and not as I do type deal. I'm very good at teaching people and telling people, what the veterans do, what the tricks are. But when it comes down to a race and implementing it, I hit panic mode, and I hit the abort button, and my brain just does whatever it wants.
Yeah, sometimes panic strats override all other strats. All right, what do we got? We got house, ice armor, $51.
Not so
If
much
Will
yet,
can
but
get-
Will's gonna go.
If Will can get his other loose item here, he could be in business.
He'll be feeling really good if the other loose item is here. It'll make that double dive with the wipe feel a lot better to him. He's gonna warp.
90
Okay.
$96
Okay.
in iron armor. We're going to utilize the warp here. It is a bit of a save. Sure, we still have to walk all the way up and around, but it's ever so slightly shorter. When we don't walk around like that, it's ever so slightly shorter. to get back to that junction where we broke off to the left to go over to where the incentive chest generally is.
Yeah, and normally, had you not made that misstep like Will just did, you would have saved yourself time. And I know he's cussing at himself right now, but he did find 2 pro rings here. So even with that misstep, he's finding a lot of armor that he didn't have to buy from shops. And he did find Woat's favorite sword, which he will not put on Woat today, his knight that's still alive, but gosh dang it, does he have it.
Apologies
and he
to
drops
Woat.
it.
Wait, did he drop it, or did it just go into the void space where
he dropped it.
The
my
void
inventory lives?
He dropped it
Mass
into
Moon.
that void space.
Caleb finds the Mass Moon in greater than less than.
Great pickup for
That's-
Caleb. With
that's a
4
frequently
light
skipped
warriors
room.
alive that second night, having an extra sword to put on them is huge. And most players, they want the Mass Moon. That's a great freaking pickup. He's got to be at least giving himself a little hooray right now behind the scenes.
Now is the time to just kind of pop out the hooray dwarf and celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've got Mazza, and that's the sword we want to carry us at least into Topher. Anything could happen once we enter Topher. But until then, I really like the Mazza.
And that gives us a lot of great plays. We have the Vorpal, we have the Mazza, we've seen, I think at least on his side, we've seen the Bane Sword and the Ice Sword, I think, at this point. So he has some options to play around there with his Light Warriors, since he is rocking the 4-man party. Yeah, he does have the Ice Sword, the X-Cal as well, Mazmoon, Vorpal. So he can equip every single one of his people with swords, and that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to throw that Vorpal on Wraith, the Red Wizard. Bane Sword on her as well, so that she can throw out some AoE if she needs to.
I think at this point, I think we had enough weaponry to actually balance functional weapons between the 2 knights and the 2 knights and the Red Mage. We could stick that Mazza on the White Wizard and actually have 4 melee dealers right now, I think.
I think after seeing our previous matches, I might feel better for that, because our previous match before this, our tournament organizer, Tristal MTG versus Tyrannex, they both won with the Vorpal. That Chaos was nothing to be friendly with, nothing to play around with. That Vorpal won them that round. And I know that's coming from a Vorpal lover, but 2 people that hate it used it and won with it. So believe me when I say there's no conspiracy here.
As much as I might talk down about the Vorpal, I will say that if it's your option, you take it.
It has
no
its place.
sense. There's no sense continuing to dig once you have your win condition, and that could be Excalibur, that could be Mazza, that could be Vorpal, that could be Sunsword. Heck, I'll even take an Ice Sword maybe in these flags if I'm desperate enough for time.
Yeah, you can temper and bonk anything up. The Vorpal, I mean, the benefit of the Vorpal is when you run into the harder fiends like Tiamats or Krakens or Chaos, like we saw in Tristal's match earlier. If the absorb is high and the evasion's not so much, I mean, numbers don't lie. The Mazmoon's the better sword 80% of the time, but that just happens to be a scenario where Vorpal's going to pay off.
And with the higher crit rate, you do tend to get more mileage out of tempers with the Vorpal. So the longer you temper it, the more effectiveness you get out of it. The Vorpal will win in the long haul, the Mazza will win in short sprints, which is why I like it. I prefer just, never mind the buffs, just ready-go strats. And that's why the Mazza serves me well.
You guys are basically taking the words out of my mouth. It's one of those where you adjust the strategy whether or not you have power bonk, whether you have temper, whether you have fast. And maybe even if you wipe at something and you're there on your second attempt, and you have that option to change swords or maybe adjust between your mages and your knights. You know, it's very much a strategy game as much as it is a randomizer. And you really have to adjust everything that's thrown at you. And I think this gives Caleb a lot of arsenry to work with. And he just from the white shirt as well. So he has a full inventory of things that he can really work with. Opal bracelet pick up here a little bit earlier as well. He's got to be feeling good armor-wise. If nothing else, just gear, armor, weapons.
Gear is fantastic. We just need to solve that level problem.
One Fine Day's pointing out in chat, it looks like Will might have dropped that ribbon. We might want to keep our eyes on that.
I'm not convinced about that. we have a bit of a technical issue with Will's stream in that we have a decent bottom percent chopped off, and unfortunately that bottom percent happens to be the Red Mage's inventory whenever we open the menu screen. So the Red Mage has things. We know the Red Mage has things because they swing things and they don't die when attacked. But as to what those things are, we're not 100% clear on that.
Yeah, that Red Wizard right now is an enigma. They may or may not have anything and everything that you want them to have on them. And we would love to know that, but we don't right now.
I gotta say, Caleb is chugging along ever since he found that Mazmoon, and now his levels are starting to look a little bit better. I mean, what a place to get some of these levels as you're checking for that second loose, though.
Yeah, full opal armor on one of those knights there, about to hit his second orb here as he comes up to Tiamat 2's floor here very shortly, and Will is just now lighting his second. So
Will's
as far
doing
as
the dance
time
of death. Dodging Death Touch, 2 attacks in a row. Nuke gets in. Will makes it past the one thing that was going to shut him down hard.
Oh, and Badmen are Badmen today and have Cremate.
And unrunnable.
That's pretty fitting for their name. But Gary is not taking any of their crap. Fury's not taking any of their crap. They're gonna try and swing them down here as they're just gonna continue disrespecting with that Cremate, but they're not having any of it. Gonna continue swinging until they're off the screen.
I like the conservation of spells here. There's only 3 bad men, and we've got a lot of melee power behind us. There's gonna be packs later that we want spells for. So conserving the spells on a bad men pack, I like. But at the same time, when there's 4 bad men, yeah, maybe we should let rip one of the nukes, because we really want to get rid of these before we see their entire skill list. It's
especially if you have trouble keeping away from them, yeah. So clearing out, we've seen a full clear of Sea Shrine at this point. We're closing in on a full clear here for Caleb in Sky.
What is this? No running in Sky?
Does that mean we're looking at a loose item in Earth Cave?
We might. We still have a decent amount of Sky in front of us. We've still got Star Shape Room and we've got Top Floor. But it might be the Earth play, and with Willcleosis docked at Melmond, I gotta imagine he's gonna be doing the Earth play.
It feels pretty bad to be doing Earth before you ever check out Mirage Sky, especially since we know that the Mazmoon was there for Caleb, as well as the Opal bracelet plus the levels. Caleb was looking pretty bad for a while there, but now it looks like he's up around 18, 19. That feels pretty good. Maybe would have wanted that a little sooner, but
18, 19 on Star Shape Floor, we've got a lot of room to improve. We've got a lot of boxes to open, a lot of tiles to walk to open them. Willcleosis is stopped on his menu screen, trying to figure out where he's going, making the mental calculation. I've got Chime and Cube and Rod. Where am I going? Are we doing Earth?
He's definitely lost
Mirage?
in thought. I don't know if he's...
Did he unplug his controller? Chat pointing out that there was a controller unplug sound. Oh, no. We're there. We got it. We're good.
Yeah,
We're off to the
everything's
races.
fine. Everything's
Good.
fine.
It's fine.
I'm sure that's exactly what's going through Will's head right now, as that all went down. This is fine. This is all fine.
The house is not on fire. I got this.
Everybody
Will-
remain calm.
Will continuing to ponder life and all its mysteries as we hover kind of almost over the Mirage Tower parking point.
Oh, power bonk located on Caleb. So now on top of the Mazmoon, now he's got the bonk as well.
I think I'm in love with his equipment screen.
It's
That
pretty
is a
really good,
beautiful
I gotta be honest.
spread of equipment to have right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Caleb's first race. He's crushing it right now. Gear looks amazing. He's catching up. I mean, he's down in orb, but he's about to make that up as well. Will is no
down in orb, but he's about to get the hardest orb to get, especially when full clearing. And Will doesn't know the loose item isn't here, so he's going to be full clearing as well. It's going to be the same time sync for both runners, and will be interesting to see where Caleb goes after this.
Quick question in chat. I'm sure Falcona can answer this. I know I can just a teeny bit. Why is the power gauntlet called the power bonk?
That's before my time, but I would imagine it's probably just community vernacular, something just kind of caught on. Same way with Roo Roo Roo, and there's our second loose, it's the key. Same with Roo 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 for wolves and all that jazz. I think it's just something that someone said one time and it probably got picked up and carried on.
The legend, as I understand it, is it's you equip it and then you beat them over the head. You just bonk them. It's the bonk glove.
I would like to think it was somebody who's very into like those whack-the-mole games where you bonk.
We might have stole it from Link to the Past, Rando, because they bonk things and we wanted to bonk things too. It's a mystery. Lost to time.
But essentially it is still, at the end of the day, the power gauntlet, just like any of our other gauntlets, except it casts temper on the user that uses that item. So it's far more valuable to our runners when they find that, and maybe that's why we decided to give it the special name.
Small correction, it casts Saber, which is better than Temper. Better.
It casts the hitty-hurdy spell that we need to do the bonky killy.
I'm on my A- game, Falconic, okay?
Caleb passing up on Whiz Vamp encounters. I gotta imagine we're running out of spells at this point, and we're conserving everything we've got for Bridge of Destiny. That's about the only reason I can think of as to why we would pass that up. 2 cent chests in the greed chests. The bad news just keeps piling on.
Zeus Gauntlet's not a bad find, but this late in the game, it's not really going to get much use.
Yeah, we'll get some use, but it'll be limited, I think.
I'm really wondering if Will's gonna check very many chests here, and whether or not he's gonna miss out on that power bonk, because I'm sure he would love to have that for Temple of Fiends Revisited, but it was just like a teeny bit out of the way, but along the way.
Given that we're definitely... So, there's 2 philosophies to full clearing Sky. Philosophy 1 is that we full clear floors as we get to them. When we hit Starshape Room, we skip it entirely and then clear the top floor. If that's a bust, warp back, check Starshape, and then progress forward. That is double backing, and I don't like it, but some people swear by it because Starshape Room is a lot of ground to cover for like 8 chests, whereas the top floor is 14 chests.
Sometimes it's just an asterisk of depression. Not to pull from you real quick, Fizzle, but this is time pressing. Chat, I need you to get your Bless RNGs out while we still have half the bridge left. I hate to wish this on Caleb, but I need our streak.
No, he needs to be initiated.
I'm with Falconic on this.
Trial by fire here, or nuclear.
We learn by doing.
And no, he makes it without seeing it. Good for him, but also I hate him.
That's fine. From what we know about Caleb, and it's not much just yet, but he's the type of guy that would have taken that fight. He would have tried it.
We see Will pick up that Mazmoon play in the greater than less than, as well as that opal bracelet he's going back for, so he definitely has weapons on weapons as well, but less people to disperse his resources across.
He's gonna drop that Mazmoon.
I hope he doesn't.
No, he's putting it on the red mage.
Yeah, we gotta utilize it.
Oh, Tiamat
we
gone!
had both our loose items.
Just like Tiamat was here, Tiamat is gone. Barely hit for anything, and Caleb said, I don't want to spend time here. And just like that, Tiamat 1 is down. Caleb has 2 orbs lit.
Level 19, and we've still got Sea Shrine to go. I'm a little worried about levels, but we're still in a correctable state. Like, we can still fix this.
Levels are a very easy thing to get versus finding gear and weapons. So, while it's not comfortable, it's an easy adjustment to make.
Now keep in mind, he found his second loose in Sky, so now when he does go through Sea and Earth, the only thing he really needs to stop for or check for would be ribbons. He only has 1, but while at level 2 and you're going to have it on 3 different characters, I think Caleb just goes.
I agree with just going, but we still need the encounters for the levels. I would be even with optimum gear, I would be very, very nervous walking into Topher in this flag set at, 2021.
Yeah.
We haven't seen anything too nasty from the vanilla fiends here. So that's where my apprehension would come from. But that doesn't mean that they wouldn't have an easy time through, so I understand and I would want those levels, but I mean, we never know what we're going to see until one of our runners gets in there. And that's not going to be too short because both of our runners are at 2 orbs. So this is not going to be a short time between those 3rd and 4th orbs getting lit. Will working towards his 3rd now. Caleb picking up some more stuff in the key locks just to check to make sure nothing else that he may want is there. And then we're just going to see the wheels just spin.
I gotta imagine we're just looking for more ribbons at this point because we've got armor, we've got weapons, we've got bonk. Maybe we're also looking for defense. We find a vendor sword, we don't like it. It's always a question of comfort. How comfortable are you going into Topher? What's the bare minimum you think you can get away with? And you talk to 50 runners and you'll get 50 answers. Yeah. So I don't exactly begrudge him the search for another ribbon, but...
Oh, and there's another ribbon, Fizzle.
All right, well, we solved that problem. Great, let's go.
And that is actually his 2nd ribbon. So yeah, he has 2 ribbons now. He has the white shirt. I would feel good here. Even as a first-time runner in a tournament, I would think that this is my threshold of where I'm like, okay, we could do this right now.
One of the things that I talk to newer runners about when they ask for advice is that there is such a thing as perfect gear. Don't let it feel like you need perfect gear to do anything, because there can be a situation where you don't have exactly everything you want, you just need to go. And the lower the scaling is, the more comfortable you should be doing that. We got defense. Defense is great. We need to go.
Yeah, one of the mistakes I made very early on is I got comfortable with the white shirt, and I never got comfortable without it. Mm-hmm. And then I got some very wise words of advice of play your seed based on what the boss's health are. So if you're at a 200% seed, play your gear to a 200% boss that you would want to see. If you're at a lower than that, play to that. Play the stats of the bosses that you're going up against, and not what you feel comfortable in a perfect world with.
Caleb wandering around, but finally setting on Marsh. I don't believe Caleb's done Marsh yet, and I think the loot is what's down here. Meanwhile, Mr. Willcleosis still has his 2-man party going. Just from the hit points on that night, we've got a lot of levels on it. And we're healing up, which means it's probably time to get our Bless RNGs out. Or not. Nope, we're still on 3rd floor. It's fine. It's fine. It's good.
You can get them out early. We can bless for a long time, a short amount of time. The blesses still go to the same place.
Yeah. We can stock them up and then just kind of blow them all at once. It's fine.
I think it's like a savings account, I think, as it was explained to me.
You write a check for like 20 Bless RNGs. The cashier looks at you, and if he likes the cut of your jib, you get a warm mech. It's just science.
He'll run it through the scanner and boop, warm mech. It might be a 3D printer instead of a scanner. We're not sure how the technology works. We've heard wives' tales.
Experts are on it. That's all I can say.
We've got our top men on it right now. Caleb going through to the incentive Marsh, which he is going to find here is the herb. And the herb, I believe that turned into loot. I think so. I did mark that down because I knew it was important, and I want to say it is. Mm-hmm. But we'll find out here shortly as Willcleosis makes his way through the Sky Tower continually. I believe it was level 30 on his Knight and his Red Mage there. Wotan Mosho looking a little bit stronger there. We might be a CrossFit YouTube channel at this point.
We got a nice hulking Mogwai. Ready to just smash everything. Here comes Caleb, turning in the herb to the thing that we're pretty sure was loot.
And it goes a crown, so it is the Fetch Quest Shuffle. But yeah, this is where we talked about Will being in the same place and feeling very safe that the line that he was going down wouldn't waste too much time here. And we know Astos is a joke this scene.
As chat reminds us, it's herb to crown to crystal to loot. The Fetch Quest 2019. Willcleosis picks up his key. How many more boxes are we opening? Answer, none.
Yeah. If Will checks any here, it better be right in his way, just like a bat, keeping you from progressing down Earth Cave, because at this point, I can't imagine him stopping for anything but maybe snacks at a gas station.
No, he's feeling nervous. I think he's feeling the heat. We're 1 hour 40 minutes in. We've only got 2 orbs lit. Something's weird. We gotta go. And we're bringing the rest of the party back up. What on earth is happening?
I'm gonna guess meat shields.
Yeah.
I don't remember if he bought too much magic on them, but if nothing else, they may be able to cast like a simple heal, maybe a temper or something out there for him. It's not a bad play, but it is... Maybe he wants a couple more charges on them before he brings them into Temple of Fiends Revisited. Maybe this is his play.
I think what's happening here is we brought up the party members. They had a decent amount of levels on them. One of them was level 11, the other one was level 14. If we take a war mech fight, that could fix a lot of the problems of the low levels while still maintaining the high levels, because we've got a Vorpal user above 30. That's great. And it looks like we're taking a lot of these fights on the Bridge of Destiny to fix our levels. This is some interesting play out of Mr. Willcleosis here. I gotta ask him about this later. This is weird.
Will did indicate as he was going into this, things would be a little unusual, and we would have a fun time commentating him, which I just, in my terms of what I would call it, is Will was being spicy. And we're seeing Will be a little bit spicy here. I think he has some cumin and some chili powder in his run today.
Not quite the full cayenne blend we've seen over on Caleb's side, but I can respect it. It's good.
A play it is, and we will see how this turns out. Tiamat 2, or no, excuse me, not Tiamat 2, Tiamat 1 over on Will's side. Not seeming to be too much of a gatekeeper here for him. Ink going out, not going to do anything to his party here. Will throwing out the nukes. 120 damage, not sure his entire health, but Tiamat is down as we see Caleb enter the Earth Cave.
So 3 orbs lit for Willcleosis, it seems. And I want to take just a quick break to throw a huge thank you out to Speed Gaming. They have been instrumental this entire week. I know a lot of matches went down. We have, I think, 46 participants in the spring tournament this year. A lot of matches have been scheduled. They've all gone pretty smoothly here. So certainly thank them for hosting us, and for all of you for watching us. This is the last match for week 1, and shortly after we wrap up here, we are going to be tossing it over to Tristal MTG, the tournament ringmaster, as it were, as we go for our week 2 reveals, and we're going to find out who the new captain and who the new walk the plank character is going to be. So stick around for that for sure.
All I want for Christmas is no band fighter. That's all I want.
All I want for Christmas is no band fighter. You can give me a forced black belt all you want, a forced thief, whatever you want. I'm gonna make them take a nap, but please don't take my fighter from my cold, still living hands.
It's a matter of preparation, and I do not feel adequately prepared to have band fighter.
As you say, as you go in the 0-1 pool against me, unprepared. Okay. The audacity of you, sir.
So
don't worry, I'm gonna get matched against Tyrannex. It's fine.
The only thing we know for sure is that the White Mage for week 2 cannot be the captain back to back, and the Thief will not be forced in week 2. But after that, all bets are off. You know what? The more we talk about it, I want forced. I don't care about the forced. I want to see a band fighter. I really do. I think Greg Lee needs to shine with those black belt strats.
You traitor.
Greg Lee has been training for this, possibly his whole life. That man does love his black belts, and I don't hate him for it. I do love the black belt, just in Swiss. I'm uncomfortable personally because I don't practice with it. So that is going to be a learning curve for me in my practice runs to come. And just as we see it enter the screen, I think there was a June bug on Caleb's screen. Maybe
Speed Bump 1.0 has been jumped, making good pace to Speed Bump 2.
That being said, if we ban the black belt, I don't know that Greg Lee's even going to run his match in week 2.
He's going on hiatus.
But to his credit, I mean, what's better than one Vorpal? Having 2 strapped to your fists.
No, black belt is definitely a utility, and I don't fault him for that at all. Like I said, it's my shortcoming for not being comfortable with it. Mm-hmm. And he is very comfortable with it. So
one of the great things about Final Fantasy Randomizer, I think, is that there is so much room for people to just carve out their own niche.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And Godspeed to Mr. Gregory Puff for just planting his flag on the Black Belt Hill.
That's-
Nothing will slow him down.
I know this is going to sound weird, right? The sentence shouldn't need to be said out loud, but in a 30-year-old video game, there really isn't a meta for what's best. Artea is going to fly through and beat most people with 2-man strats. One Fine Day likes to do a lot of 3-man strats. Gregley loves the black belt, so he's going to stop somewhere and do a solo grind and still finish in times that he has no business finishing in when you're stopping to do a grind and not progressing, but he does time and time again. I like black mages. I know most people love red mages. I mean, there's so many different ways to approach these seeds. You just kind of find the one that works for you.
And then we have the Will Bloodworth strats, which none of us will even follow in the steps of.
Which we just kind of put in the corner by themselves. I mean, it's entertaining as heck. I'll give it that.
Yeah, I'll watch it all day and I'll cheer him bits. I'll push subs his way, but that man has the patience that I hope to one day have, but I know I will never get.
Our runners right now sort of high-fiving in the Earth Cave. Caleb approaching speed bump 2 as Willcleosis approaches speed bump 1. Gracing us with that lovely poison sound again.
And at this point, we know Caleb is probably going to go mode the next dungeon. So even though that Will, as he gets through this, is going to have the orb lead, Caleb won't be far behind.
No,
In
I
fact,
believe
he's
all we
getting a
have...
little bit of sprint here.
What do we have left to do at this point? Sea
Just
Shrine,
Sea
right?
Shrine, yeah.
And we're not looking for anything, so a go mode Sea Shrine isn't that long. If we really just hammer down and we run from everything we can, and we just, well, we're at level 19, we gotta take fights. This is gonna be an interesting strategic decision, I think, that we see here.
He is going to need to take fights, but his party comp makes it a little bit more forgiving, especially since he can get some spells on his knights. But yeah,
And Mo, you pointed out earlier, you play towards the percentages of the seeds. And Fizzle, in your match with me, both of us, I mean, we did all mages. It was 2 white mage, 2 black mage. What the hell were we thinking? But even
We're
at
making
level,
Italian food.
even at level 24, 25, that I think we both were when we went in, the health levels aren't as high as they are on these characters at level 20, and these characters have certainly much better gear. So I don't know that you don't just try for a Topher dive at 20. I think the gear and the spells make me feel more comfortable saying that.
The key difference, I think, is that if we're still comparing this to our match, we got an easy Topher. And that allowed us to skate through probably earlier than either of us should have.
Oh yeah, but you don't know until you try it.
You don't know until you try it, but if we try it, the lower you try it, the more likely it is that you fail. And when you fail, that's going to require a stationary grind, which nobody likes to do. Whereas if we take fights along the way as they come up, if you use your resources properly, taking a fight is only slightly slower than running from a fight. So we can get most of the levels we need here, and then if we still need more when we hit Topher, that's what the 3rd floor is for.
I like to call it the Minochi 85 buzzsaw strats. That's something that he does time and time again. He just tries it. And it seems to always work out for him. And then I do it and it works out 1 out of 10 times. But
it's always the divergent path there where you see 2 people go into Temple of Fiends Revisited. And one person will see something nasty, the other person won't. Or, maybe the person will see nothing but nasty, the other person will get pretty good turn order, nothing nasty to the spell or anything list. We've seen that a couple times in the tournament. I saw Nuke on Tiamat 2 that Shadow Walker didn't see. In our very last match that we just had over here on Speed Gaming, Tyrannex and Tristal. Both of them did see Nuke, but one of them saw Nuclear where the other one didn't. So it's a gamble of where you feel comfortable, what you have, how low you think you can skate by, and then also how friendly the game decides to be to you today for your first run through.
I just want to point out that Willcleosis has a level 34 Vorpal swinging knight. This should be a fun Topher.
I'm pretty sure 34 is the highest I've seen any non-black belt go so far in round 1.
Yeah, I would agree.
We can definitely say Will came to play today. Has made some choices that I can't wait to ask him about. Especially rezzing those other two party members up on his almost exit out of Sky to get them a couple more levels, have a little bit beefier meat shields that can also throw some magic out. But he's definitely making some plays.
The more I think about this, the more just intrigued I am by this. So we're entering Topher with a level 15 and a level 17, both mages. The instant we see Nuke, both of them are dead. Mm-hmm. Probably the instant we see Nuclear, both of them are dead.
Yep.
So, what's going on?
But you got a lot of life too, so you can pick them up if that happens. I think that's kind of the strength of Will's party selection, having the double red mage. But don't look now, Caleb's about to pull Kraken and is literally, I think they're saying in chat, and I agree, about 3 minutes behind.
I'd agree with that.
Behind Willcleosis, who is no scrub at this game at all. So if this is how Caleb's going to start off his FFR career, as it were, he's one to watch out for, because this is an awesome run from somebody who's making their debut right now.
Yeah, first showing, first tournament run, first restream race that I've even seen of him, and he's this close to Willcleosis as Willcleosis. He already just took a reset there. If he finds anything more nasty, we have a fourth orb over on Caleb's side. Mm-hmm. They're about to be in Temple of Fiends Revisited together. Maybe Caleb needs to get a little bit of shopping first, but...
No, his heals look good. He needs to get him into the right spot. He's got 95. I think he's ready. I think Caleb did the shopping already, and he's ready to go.
Yeah, I would love to see him dash to that, because this time difference that we could see there, with a four-man strat that he's run this whole run with a little bit more... levels strewn across the four instead of just two really beefy and then two just kind of there. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he's going straight for Temple of Fiends Revisited, so we're getting exactly what we wanted here. Both of our runners, one new, one veteran at the 153 mark.
Caleb not rearranging his inventory to get heals into the optimum position. And of course, by rearranging his inventory, I mean eating those two tents.
Eating the two would have put... I didn't get a chance to see it, but the last time I saw it, he had heals all the way in the far right. So the tent... Did he have something else that he could have burned to move him over two spots?
Cabins.
Okay. Or
maybe houses. I forget which was lower.
I think cabins was the lower one, but this is another thing where when he watches this back and listens to us, give little tips like that, it's something he'll bring into his next match. Mm-hmm. But our runner screens are pretty mirrored right now. Both of them fighting bad men. Both of them struggling a little bit. Both of them with the Temple of Fiends Revisited borders. Did Will expect this to happen, or was he hoping just to take this home?
I think
more interesting questions.
Yeah, I think Will was hoping that and still is hoping that the two-man for a while getting that. I think he wanted the knight to have levels, because we all knew that knight was going to be swinging the Vorpal, and the Vorpal, it needs a little help sometimes. You can put it on a knight at level 20, but it's just not going to do the damage it's going to do at level 34, level 35 right now.
Right.
Caleb knocking out of the park here, and just to kind of recap, or to explain a little bit about what we were just talking about for those that aren't quite familiar with the randomizer in Final Fantasy, your inventory menu is static for the most part. As you pick up an item, things shift. You can't manually rearrange them at will, but what you can do, because heals, softs, and pures are always going to be at the end of your inventory.
Right.
If you can purchase tents or cabins, those are always going to be put in front, and it shifts where the heals are in your menu. And what you want to try to do as you're going into a dungeon is try to get those heals moved into the left-hand column, so that all you have to do when you hit your menu is press up one time and then A to use them, as opposed to where they're at now in the right-hand column, where he's going to have to press up, then left, then A, over and over and over. It just adds time to your menu.
Caleb through the Phantom as Willcleosis is just one floor ahead. Willcleosis has the advantage in levels, but, well, he partially has the advantage in levels. That's the weird thing about this.
Yeah.
Willcleosis has the advantage in two characters, but a vast disadvantage in the other two. Mm-hmm. If anything happens to that Vorpal swinger, I do not know that Willcleosis has a backup plan.
Yeah, and we see different people swinging on Caleb's side. He has 2 knights to swing with versus Will's 1, and then his whole mage party. So there's a big difference in the party comp we see here, and I'm really excited to see how this pays off. And as Maya pointed out in chat, or I guess kind of asked, we're on a different step counter. We are on a different step counter for this encounter table.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a weird one to break down, Fizzle. The more I think about it as well, yes, you said it. Will's got the better levels on 2 and worse levels on the other 2. Caleb having 2 knights, though. 2 knights, one wielding the Vorpal, one wielding the Mazmoon. I think that actually provides more of a damage output than a 34 swinging a Vorpal on his own.
Possibly. It depends on what we do with our fasts, tempers, and bonks. It will be very interesting to see the breakdown, because if RNG fails Will and that Vorpal just doesn't do anything, then Caleb's got the DPS. If Will gets crit after crit after crit, I think he might still have it.
It's going to be interesting. This one is coming down to the wire, and to be honest, I didn't expect it. I figured Caleb would be like most of us are in our first race, and the nerves get the better of you. And we saw that at the beginning, just a little bit. And we talked about how it's quicksand. You make one mistake, and then you start struggling, and you make another. And the more you try to stop, the more you end up making more mistakes. But he's completely turned it around, and he's crushing it right now. And now they're literally 1 floor away.
Willcleosis on carry 2 swings his Vorpal, makes the red mage and the white mage in the middle just kind of stand there and do nothing. Relying on his top and bottom higher leveled characters, makes it through, but not with impressive damage out of that Vorpal.
No, and we're seeing Caleb hit that same floor that he was just on, so Caleb is right on Will's tail. And I'd be really curious to see Will's thoughts of whether or not he thinks it's this close right now, or whether he maybe had a little bit of a lead with the gambles that he took. But in the end of it, Caleb playing that slow and steady, smart race will show you here, just like if you're passing through traffic. You might be 1 or 2 seconds ahead, but you really didn't gain much.
No. This is going to come down to... I think this is going to come down to the Kraken 2 fight.
As it always does.
As it always does. Kraken 2 is the gatekeeper. Poison Waters. Let's see if Willcleosis is kind to our eardrums just for once in this run. He isn't. No, there we go. We got there. We did it. We cured the poison. Okay, let's heal up. And let's prepare ourselves.
Man, look at Caleb. That level 2, fast, temper, and nuke being on the same level. We talked about how that can come back to bite you, and you could see the thought process going of, do I want to burn a fast right now on carry or not?
Using the Lightning 3 to conserve level 2 for the bosses where we need it. That's good strategy. As Willcleosis engages Kraken 2, we're going to fast the knight. We move the knight down to the bottom slot. We don't want anything to happen. Willcleosis knows just as we do, if anything happens to that Vorpal swinger, he is sunk. See what we got going on. We're gonna lift something. So fast goes off. Oh, 936 on that forward-facing red mage. That ain't good. 10 hits, 253. That's even worse. Zap strats, ineffective. Let's try the zap. Let's try hefting something, and let's try swinging. White shirt. We got 2 evasion stacks. We're gonna need more than that. Kraken 80s Wheaties today. Zap strats, ineffective. Poison damage comes out. That's not good for the squishy people. 10 hits, 301 is good enough. Paper Kraken 2.
Yeah, I think Will's probably putting out a sigh of relief at this point, because that could have been far more deadly. If that Kraken had a little bit more health, that fight could have been a little spicier than it was. So maybe Tiamat will be the gatekeeper.
I see a lot of menuing going on here.
And
Caleb's on the water floor. Not that far behind. About to pull Kraken to himself.
Yep. They're almost high-fiving, but just at the cusp, Will goes ahead and pulls a little bit forward. But if Caleb gets through this a little bit faster than Will did, then I think really this Tiamat 2 fight is going to be the teller of who gets to Chaos first, and then really what Chaos has. This is such a close race. I don't want to say I can't believe it, because I can. I knew going into this Caleb had studied Will, He's seen his VODs, he's studied the community as a whole, but I'm so impressed, I think is the better term for what I'm feeling right now.
Battle of Tiamat 2, here we go. Let's open with Nuke. 216, not good enough. White Shirt, let's get some evasion stacks up. We don't know how hard this thing hits. Fast lands on the Knight. 5 hits, 422, down goes the Red Mage.
Oh.
4 hits for 335. Vorpal's not doing its work today. And that was 4 hits after a fast. We've got some evasion problems. White Shirt goes up. Swing. 3 hits, 219. We're going in the wrong direction. Nuke lands. 100 damage. That's the minimum roll. Bad, bad, bad news. Let's try Nuke. Let's try Fade. Let's try Swing. Here we go. 3 hits, 244. Down goes Tiamat 2.
And as we saw that happening, Caleb did get through Kraken too, a little bit faster than Will, but he had 2 Light Warriors go down. Which he was able to res up because the White Wizard and the top Knight Gary were able to stay alive, and he is now pulling Tiamat 2, which we just saw on Will's side.
With pretty good evasion too. Willcleosis is doing the Falconic victory lap. Is Hubris gonna do him in? If Chaos wipes Will, Caleb is looking strong.
Let's see if this was Lamp of Triumph for Hubris.jpg.
And Will's going to do the door glitch for good measure as he rearranges his party.
And as he continues to play musical chairs with his red wizards here.
We got to rearrange the order that they die in. That's what we're doing.
He's probably trying to keep a mental note of their spell charges without having to actually check and make sure that the one that has the most is the most protected out of the 2 of them.
Just a quick correction before Fizzle gives us the Chaos Call here. Caleb does not have the Vorpal. He has the X-Cal on the Mazmoon.
Ooh. I do and I don't like that. I think I would be running the Vorpal as a backup just in case things go wrong, but we don't have Temper. I think we sacrificed it for Life 2. But here we go on Chaos. Fast gets off first, then we got the White Shirt. Give us some evasion. Chaos punches, only 95 damage, and that's on the lowest level 1. Invis 2 comes up again. 9 hits, 230 damage. That's an armored Chaos. Round 2, let's try Fade. Let's try Fade. Let's use another White Shirt. Or no, hang on. Hold it. Let's cast Invis 2, and we'll swing. 9 hits, 230 damage. Not getting anywhere yet. Fade for 91, not good. Fade again for 104, Invis 2. We're at 3 stacks of Invis 2 so far. Chaos punches for 195. The White Mage is down to 8 health. Let's try Nuke, let's try Nuke. Let's heft a White Shirt. Nope, scratch that. Hang on, we're doing something. We're casting something, and we're swinging. Nuke lands, 179. Chaos responds with Lightning 2. White Mage goes down. Let's try another Nuke. 103. Let's try swinging. 8 hits, 324. We are not making progress on this. We've run out of nukes on the top Red Mage. But the second one still has some to spare. Nuke. 159. Let's try heal 3. We've taken a lot of damage. Let's try and undo some of that. Swing. 9 hits, 209. Chaos is still standing. Zap comes out. Ineffective. Let's look at our inventory, see what we're doing. We're doing a nuke. 133. Chaos is still there. Swing. 7 hits, 83. This Vorpal is just going in the wrong direction. Zap strats. Ineffective. Gets punched for the trouble. Let's try Zap again. Let's try Fade and Swing. Zap strats. Ineffective. Swing. 10 hits, 84 damage. We are not making any progress on this. Fade for 102. Counters with Lightning 2, taking some damage. Oh.
Over on Caleb's side, we just saw him take a very hefty knock to his party. The Knight and the Red Wizard went down with a zap from Chaos, but his Power Bonk is doing more damage with his sword more than Will is doing. We see that White Mage is going to continue to throw at that White Shirt.
It's a battle of charges.
Gary's not giving up today.
The battle of charges. I believe Will is out in nukes at this point, but might have gotten enough evasion charges up that he doesn't have to worry about melee. We haven't seen anything threatening out of Chaos, spell or skill-wise. Here comes Stop. It's not going to hit. Zap strats. Still ineffective.
Oh my god, this is close.
This is so close.
Way more damage.
8 hits, 197, still not dead. Zap, ineffective. Rub, ineffective. Swing, 6 hits, 298, still there. Oh, Caleb
Chaos
is
has
definitely...
next to no health.
Caleb is catching up, but
he's
will
catching.
it be enough to overtake? And Willcleosis gets it. 6 hits for 157.
Gee, Willcleosis.
GG.
Caleb's got to have
Official
chaos in the next few
SRL
seconds.
time.
He's so low.
206.11.
Caleb gets it
There's
down.
Caleb. Caleb finishes an official SRL time of 206.25. That is a
With
14-second
14-second difference
between our two runners. Holy crap. That was amazing.
I did want to see Will lose, but I also hope to see him lose there. That was such a great comeback there from Caleb, really just in the in-game there, capitalizing on what he knew, what he's seen. A 14-second difference from a first-time tournament entrant, first-time runner against the Willcleosis.
That's you could talk about the waterfall wipes that we were kind of questioning, but we really love to play, but that's not even 14 seconds. That's the Topher wipe that he took when he went back for the Banesword. Just one less of those, and he had Will dead to rights.
Wow.
That was impressive. Capital I impressive. I expect big things out of Mr. Rafe Hates Caleb. We're going to try and get them in here, see if we can get a post-race interview.
The 0-1 continues to get more scary and almost, I would say, at this point, maybe more entertaining than 1-0s at this point. There are so many good people that lost by just a very small margin that... Wow. GG to both of our runners. Wraith Hates Caleb, also Willcleosis. You all know him here. You know his voice more than you probably even know his avatar, but GG to them both.
GG indeed. Willcleosis has joined us in the match.
Oh,
Buddy.
What happened? It was he's done and I'm done? No, I'm
That's
dead
what
serious.
we want to ask you. We wanted to ask
Yeah.
you what happened.
What happened?
Willcleosis, I have one thing to say about your run just then. When do I get paid for that victory lap royalty?
Apparently this is like I'm taken aback here right now. I was looking over here and all of a sudden we're both done. And I have no idea what just happened. So, I'm sorry.
Caleb absolutely executed the slow and steady and smart play of the whole race. We saw you take gambles throughout the race. You went for the two-man strats for the majority of it to make sure two of your light warriors were really buffed and muscly strong and ready for Temple of Fiends Revisited. But we saw him just take the smart and steady and the most worn path. And honestly, he could have had you there, Will. He was one
Did I
small hiccup
win?
in the beginning away.
I don't even know if I
Bro.
won. I literally have no clue because everything's like all conjumbled in the race room. I'm dead serious.
14 seconds separated you. You did win, right? Caleb was hot on your heels the entire time.
Wow. I knew the guy was a player. I just had conversations with him, and you can feel it when you talk to somebody. You just know. You can hear it in their voice. You can hear the confidence. And I felt very good about this match. I did. I'm not going to lie to you. But I was nervous at the same time because I know what I did last year. I know what I did to all these other players that never saw me coming, and I was nervous. And, and we're past the 2-hour mark, and I'm like, I have no idea what is going on, but I feel okay. And I was trying to zap chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Will, he's not just a player, he's a competitor. I don't think any of us saw him come out of the gate this strong and this scary, to be honest. Listening to his podcast, I know a lot of us did. Listening to his stories, the way he talked to you guys, kind of going back and forth about the randomizer community. We knew he would come here and be a show out. We didn't know that he would be the show himself.
Are you telling me he almost upset a heavy favorite by 14 seconds?
Yes.
Are you serious?
And if he had not made a very early, just little hiccup, Will, he would have decimated you.
I'll say this:
Wow.
the 0-1 crowd just got that much more scarier.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, let's get him in here.
He's in here now. Caleb,
All right.
GG, sir. 14 seconds behind Will. How do you feel?
Speechless.
Speechless. Looks like we're dealing with
Some-
some audio issues there.
Will, it's Fizzle.
Yes, sir.
Talk to me about two-man strats.
It just kind of naturally happened. Nuke at level 2, a little bit of zap, life 2 so early that I knew I could get Wout, my lead light warrior, knowing I had the Vorpal. That's my preferred endgame weapon. Obviously, I won this match with it somehow by 14 seconds, somehow. And life 2 on obviously the knight, should I need it, and Mo, my red wizard. Let's go for it. Based upon the life 2 was really, and a little bit of nuke, to get along the path. But life 2 was the deal breaker for me. You could see me outside of the old Melmond, grabbing fights to make sure that I had that.
Speaking of party comp, I know you said that Caleb is usually, you would think he's going to take a black mage with him. You guys had pretty similar but a little bit small tweak in your parties. You obviously went with the double red, white, and then a fighter. He actually went with the double fighter, red, white. So neither one of you took the black mage this time around.
What? That is not what I prepared for. I told Fizzlebeef, I'm sure you said it during the show, I told you what my party was going to be. And I expected my opponent to pick a black mage.
He didn't. He did double fighter. He also made the early dive. Well, I say early. He did it earlier than you into Mirage and found greater than less than, which was just stacked with the Mazmoon and the Opal bracelet there. And because of that, he was able to start swinging. I thought he was going to swing the Vorpal and the Mazmoon, like any self-respecting man out there. But he was doing Excalibur, and he did Mazmoon. And man, that chaos fight at the end, he was bonking up. I was concerned. I didn't see you bonking up. You were swinging the Vorpal. How did you feel about that chaos fight when you hadn't seen him done yet? You were over the 2-hour mark. Were you comfortable? Did you feel behind?
I'm going to tell you the truth. I did feel okay. Not comfortable. Not at all. I never had the Power Gauntlet. Where in the world was that? I have no idea.
That was Sky somewhere, I think.
I never saw it. If I had it, I had it, and I didn't know, which
Upper
wouldn't
left
surprise me.
Starshape room, I believe, is where it was.
I never saw it. I got the Mystic Key, and I got the heck out of there. So I had the Vorpal. That's what I do. I was level 35. Level 32 is the break point for the Game Changer, and I was ready to go.
Yeah, I think that was Caleb's mentality right out of the gate. He made a couple very early plays that, we didn't hate, but, as anybody who's watching them as a veteran and knows how things can go, we were a little bit scared. He went to Waterfall pretty early. He took carry on very, very early in the Volcano, and it paid out for him. I think he was level 11 when he finished the Volcano, maybe less than that when he did the Waterfall. So there were a lot of gambles, a lot of plays, and a lot of things he pulled out earlier than you. And that made him up a lot of time from the few little hiccups in the beginning. And like I said, Will,
Wow.
had he not done a couple things here and there, he would have had you on this one.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't surprise me. It doesn't. Caleb reminds me of me last year, and that's a compliment that I mean the entire way. I wasn't scared tonight. But I was nervous. I don't know anything about my opponent, and I studied my opponent, and apparently I got some work to do.
That was a lot of things we touched base on. A lot of chat was asking, well, does Caleb normally do this? Does Caleb go here? Does Caleb go there? And we're like, we don't know. We listened to the podcast, especially the one you guys had together, and Falconic and I listened to a couple more, but he's pretty new to this, so there's not very many VODs of him to go back and study and watch and try and, take out his weaknesses. He has no dirt on him. And what do you do for a man that has no dirt out in the open?
Well, where's my opponent? Is my opponent here?
He's here. I think we're working out some mic headset issues at the moment.
Well, get in here. You earned it, Caleb. Get in here. You earned it.
Now, Will, we listened to the podcast, of course, Rafe Hates Caleb. Amazing show that he had with you on as a special guest. He talked about, like most of us, growing up playing this game for 30 years. And you could really see that in his gameplay. He routed well. He knew where chests were, which is something that a lot of new runners kind of struggle with. But more importantly, he also knew when to kind of buff up. He knew when to be a little bit more defensive. And as you made your way through Topher, he started gaining on you over and over and over. So like I said, the 0-1 crowd, to me, is far more deadly than the 1-0. So I'm fortunate. I'm glad I got lucky against Fizzle. I'm sorry, Fizzle. I'm more sorry for who has to face Fizzle, but even more so, Rafe. Rafe hates Caleb. I don't want to play Caleb either.
Yeah,
I'll say
I mean,
right now, I do not. I'm not a fan of a Rafe hates Caleb matchup because like Will is saying, there is nothing to go on. There is nothing to know about strategy to try to counter. And watching the play that I just saw, the decisions that were made, and the refinement that's almost certainly going to be going into week 2, that is a matchup that I definitely would not take lightly in the slightest.
No, there's very little to exploit, even after this play, because you saw the things that he corrected that he knew he did wrong in the beginning, or just kind of had a hiccup on. So, as far as exploitations go, to even try and get an advantage on him, I don't know what it would be other than being on my absolute P's and Q's, dotting the I's, crossing the T's.
Alright, so let's go ahead and I think we're putting out some information here for Caleb to see if we can't figure out the mic issue. Willcleosis, tell me about this tournament. The open seas, the free canal, the two loose. What are your overall thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted just open progression, and I understand extended open, that's what we should do. But when you play just open progression on this type of design, it yields the ship very early, and it makes the Marsh Cave a lot more optional than what it normally has been. And normally, maybe 60% of the time, if I was to guess, maybe 65, at least 55, it makes Marsh Cave required early. It wasn't the case this time. But the design is fantastic. You get those two loose items. We had the ship, or whatever, I don't know, whatever we had. I can't even remember. I'm so rattled based upon this.
Key and Slab.
Yeah, Key and Slab. Thank you. Slab in the armory area. But I think it's fantastic. I think that without the entrance and floor shuffle, which was debated highly, which is my thing, Falconic, Lord Fizzlebeef, I know it's your thing. That's what, honestly, I really want. But for competitive stake, for the Doogie MacGyvers and the Captain Nerd 2s and the Rafe Hates Caleb's, apparently, this is what we want. It's creating competitive matches, it's creating drama, action, and adventure, and you have to light the power of the orbs!
Lighting the power of the orbs is definitely what you have to do, and I believe we have Caleb joining us. Caleb, can you hear us?
Yes, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
GG,
Awesome.
Caleb. Tell us, let's start off first and foremost, your first race, right? Your first, maybe second full FFR seed that you've cleared. Overall thoughts in general. How'd that go? How did that feel for you?
I felt like I was going to throw up the entire time. I like, for the first 5 to 10 minutes, I was all nerves, and I accidentally reset out of the Garland fight without saving, and had to go back and do that. And then it was just, I suck at menuing. So I feel like I spent a lot of time just looking at my menu and just fat fingering and messing things up. But the entire time, after like the 1 hour mark, I just kept looking over to the SRL chat and just kept waiting to see the done from Will. Like I never felt ahead in this race.
As you're talking about feeling like everything you did was in kind of like slow motion, taking an eternity, it may have felt like for you, but for the audience and for the commentators, it was only a couple of seconds here and there. And we could tell you were a little bit nervous there in the start. I mean, all of us really are at the beginning of our races. I don't know that you ever truly get over the feeling of your first 5 minutes of the race, you feel like throwing up everywhere. Or at least I haven't. But in the grand scheme of things, the plays that you were making and the time you made up otherwise, and the plays you made very risky with a lower level, you made that up tenfold. And honestly, when you guys both got into Temple of Fiends Revisited, and you were both on Chaos at the same time, the crowd, the commentators, the chat, all were just rooting for you, man.
I really appreciate it. I can't say how much I really love this community and how supportive you guys have been, and I can't wait to go back and watch the VOD. Like, I'm still kind of shaking, but
Understandable.
I'm still shaking.
Caleb, it's Fizzle.
hey, how's it
Tell
going?
me about Waterfall.
It's something that I did in the other seed that I beat. I figured if I got some good RNG, I could get in and get out. And that's what I tried to do. I just wanted to get that check. I wanted to clear that part of the map and only have to come back to do Onrac. And when I saw the floater for sale in Onrac, I was like, okay, I just need a little bit of gold. Maybe Waterfall can get that for me. And then my first run through Waterfall, I did get enough gold to get the floater, but then I wiped on that trap tile coming out. And then so when I finally did clear Waterfall, I didn't have enough gold, and I had to take a couple fights, and that red anklo almost got me, and I was just. That's when I went into Sea Shrine. I was like, I'll just go do mermaids. Mermaids will give me some chests, and then things in there started hitting pretty hard, and then I realized level 10 probably isn't the best time to go in there.
That was actually going to be my follow-up question of, I was, as resident madman in the commentary booth, I was grinning ear to ear when I saw you storm into Waterfall at level 5, but I was going to ask, were you more afraid of sea, or did you just consider you only needed a few chests out of Waterfall, so that's why you went there first?
Yeah, I just went there first because it was right there. I didn't want to have to come back all the way across the continent, or across the world or whatever, just to get like 3,000 gold. And I figured there's got to be a couple chests in here that can hook me up. And I think it was right side, first floor had some money in it, and then I got a fight coming out, and that was enough to give me the floater. And then once I did that, I was just trying to get as much done. And I know from playing the vanilla game that I knew that you can dive Volcano pretty early if you have some good stuff. And that's what I just went on. And then I think I screwed up the armory floor the first time. And then I think it was the red hydras got me. And then it was just, I knew I had to get the slab and then just get out and save it. And then I just figured I'll clear it while I'm here. And then I'll just clear that whole continent and went right up to ice and did that.
Yeah, it was actually something we talked about when we were watching you run. You would clear certain parts of the continent so that you didn't have to come back, which is a very smart play to not have to not only double back to a place, but not have to double back to a section of a continent. And as a resident 0-1 speaker here, I don't want to face you in this next round. You made a lot of smart plays today, and you've made me even rethink some of the things that I'm doing here. Going into week 2, as we're going to be here shortly, we're about to get our matchups here for the next week. How do you feel about this? Do you feel more comfortable now that you've gotten your first one out of the way, your first jitters, your first kind of, hopefully just turn and burn? Even though that wasn't for you, you were very close to winning against Willcleosis, so I wouldn't call this a burn at all. But do you feel good about going into week 2? How do you feel?
I feel better. I feel better than I did like all week leading up to this. After the conversation I had with Will on the show, I was just nervous. I was like, there's no way I'm going to win. There's no way I'm even going to be close. He's going to beat me by like 45 minutes. And it's just going to be everybody just watching me, ride the struggle bus all the way through a seed. And actually having done it and completed it, it feels better. I don't know who I'm going to be racing against next week. And I'm still figuring out the whole Twitch and the SRL stuff. And I can't thank you guys enough for kind of holding my hand and guiding me through this process. But week 2, I feel a little bit better, but like, it's not much better.
Honestly, I think when you go back and watch your run and you see the small amount of discrepancies between you and Willcleosis himself, you'll feel a lot better. And that's something we always recommend to people is if you lose, go back and watch the race. See where you guys had the divergent paths and stuff like that. And your podcast was actually something we talked about a lot here on the show. You and Will had a great podcast together here very recently on your podcast that you host. And it was really great to hear aside from you and also some things about Will that we didn't know. But I also understand that you do some other reviews about movies and stuff. So can you tell us a little bit more about that and the background, and maybe shoot a link or a name so the fans can come out and support you there as well?
Sure. Thanks again. It was born out of the conversation I had with Will when we were trying to set up the time. I kind of told him about the podcast and had the conversation about him coming on the show, and I was really bummed that Rafe, my co-host, couldn't be on the show because of like life interfering with her schedule. But Rafe and I, we've been doing this show for about 5 years. We're like, she's one of my best friends. We used to live together, and she moved across the country. We started doing a podcast to just kind of stay in touch with each other, and we watch to kind of give the show a structure. We started watching all the movies from a single actor. We started with Sam Rockwell. We moved from Sam Rockwell to Justin Long, to Alan Rickman, to Bruce Willis, and right now we're doing Hulk Hogan just for fun. But we're both not huge gamers like in that regard, but like we both have a passion for Final Fantasy. It was one of the first games I ever played. Final Fantasy VII was one of the first games she ever played. So we've just been, it's just been, I'm super frazzled right now. I'm still trying to like process the adrenaline dump that just happened. But yeah, if people want to check it out, that's awesome. When I saw you guys sharing the info in the Discord the day the episode launched, before I could even do something, it was super awesome and such a great feeling. And I was texting her with Rafe about it, and she was like, "Oh, I love your Discord. Like, it's awesome." And now I just got to try to get her to join the community, even though she's never played Final Fantasy, even the vanilla game. But yeah, we're on iTunes. Rafe Hates Caleb, RafeHatesCaleb.com. We don't really have that much of like an infrastructure. Like, we're working on getting on Spotify and Google Play and all that stuff, but it's just something that we've just been doing and trying to have fun with, and not trying to, take on the Joe Rogans and all the other Mark Maron, all the other big podcasts or anything like that. Just trying to do a fun conversation that keeps people engaged, and it does become much more inappropriate than any conversation you'll hear me have here, but just a fair warning, it is like mature content and stuff. But yeah,
I will say, as somebody who has fallen down that rabbit hole of listening to you and Will do the podcast together here very recently, and then listening to more and more, you guys are, both you and Rafe, are very easy to listen to. The conversation is very easy to follow along with pace, and just the chemistry between you two, and even the guest that you had with Will was absolutely fantastic. As far as Rafe joining the community and never playing vanilla, I'm raising my hand here. You can't see it. I'm behind a monitor. I never played vanilla. It was far behind my time, and I didn't know anything about it. And that's actually one of the reasons why I became so passionate about being Mama Duck and teaching people. Because it's a great community to be a part of, a really cool game to play, because our developers are both awesome and madmen at the same time. So if Rafe ever wants to jump in, we do have a lot of resources for people that don't know a single thing about it. We're really happy to have you here. Really cool to hear the podcast and kind of see, you branch out here a little bit with Will, and just super cool to hear a side of the runners that we don't get in post-game interviews a little bit before the race.
Thank you again. I can't thank you guys enough. It's been an amazing week of just kind of being a ball of nerves and trying to tackle this monster, something I've been watching all of you do for weeks, or I'm sorry, for years, it seems like. And I was watching the Tristal's Twitch when like all the matches were being announced, and I was sitting on the couch with my girlfriend, and I was just like, "Oh wow, yeah, like Edge, like yeah, he's like one of the best." Like like it was just like you're watching like any other like sports competition. It's just like, oh, these are like the good ones. Like, oh, I don't know that person's name. Like, they're probably, who knows? Like, they could be a like the next Arson Horse or whatever. But I just want to give one more shout out to Will. Thank you again so much for being the person that opens the door for me into this community. I got a text message from my brother who lives across the country and watches speed gaming, and he texted me just when I was out and about today. It's like, hey, so apparently I'm watching speed gaming and they're talking about your podcast. What the hell's what's going on? And it was just really funny. It's like, oh, you have another Will in your life, and it's just the first thing I talked about with Will on the show. It's just too funny.
Congratulations, Caleb. I think we both have to go and watch this back. I've got some work to do personally. And yeah, they're talking about a dangerous 0-1. Lord Fizzlebeef is the most dangerous 0-1 that I've ever seen ever in my entire life. And Beef, I know you can hear that. Mm-hmm. But people are going to be put on notice. Because if that Vorpal that I use to take out the Ultimate Fiend does not get the job done, you're 1-0. And you're moving forward. And I was in that position in all that heat and the pressure and everything that it was last year. Because this match that we just had, I mean, come on, it was David versus Goliath. And it was 14 seconds. Congratulations. Hang your head up high. I'll see you in the play-in race.
There was a time where I felt really relieved to lose my first match. That's no longer the emotion I am feeling. But to kind of wrap up our show here, we do have to throw this over to Tristal here very soon so we can all see what our fate is going to be week 2. So I just want to give a quick thank you to Speed Gaming, specifically Speed Gaming 3, for letting us throw this matchup here tonight. It was a great showing, I think, for a lot of our guests here tonight and our crowd that hung through here with us. We had awesome commentary booth. We had myself, Moist Mogwai. We had Lord Fizzlebeef. We had Falconic FF even chiming in. Our awesome trackers, Danny3883 and Lyra.
The Baroness!
We had a full cramped ground or a Greyhound bus here tonight. And I'll go ahead and throw it to others so I'm not hogging the mic. Fizzle, any final thoughts here tonight?
Thank you to Speed Gaming for hosting us, not just for this match, but basically the entire day. Thank you to Falconic and Mo for joining me in the booth. Thank you to Danny and Lyra on tracking. Excellent, excellent race, Will and Caleb. And whenever I talk about the fact that people that are new to the community, you don't know where they came from, and you don't know where their experience is, and you don't know how dangerous they are, this is going to be the VOD I probably reach for first. So thank you for that.
Absolutely great points there, Fizzle. Falconic, I know you're muted, so I'll give you a second to get in here if you have any final thoughts for us here.
Final thoughts, absolutely. So this match rounds out our week 1 for the spring tournament, and it's hyperbole, sure, maybe we're just kind of blowing smoke. We're not. What a week 1 we've had so far. We've had upsets galore. We've had Warmex upon Warmex upon Warmex. They haven't always been friendly. Fizzle can attest to that. We've got new players coming in here. I think over at least half of the runners in this tournament are names and faces that we haven't seen up until now. And I think that's the biggest credit you can give to FFR is the fact that it's just new blood. It draws people in. A 30-year-old game draws in new players. So we're about to go over to Tristal's stream afterwards. We're going to do the week 2 pairing. And all I can say is if you enjoy what you're seeing, I promise you it's not beyond your skills. Moist Mogwai does a fantastic job of helping out new player help. Our new players we like to call ducklings. We're going to get you up to speed. You're going to follow Mama Duck. She's going to help you roll a few seeds. She's going to make sure you know how to get Hex Chat set up. We're going to get the SRL set up for you. If you've never streamed on Twitch before, we're going to help you. I mean, literally anything you need, you're going to have 10, 15 people just waiting to help you out to do it. So join in, have some fun with us here. I know the tournament's already started, so you probably can't join this one here, but we'd love to have you. And I can't wait for week 2. We're going to find out who everyone plays here in just a little bit.
Yeah, week 2 is definitely going to be exciting. And like you said, we call our newcomers ducklings, and that's for a reason. We want to help you guys tread water. And what treads water better than a duck? So come out and see us no matter what your skill level is, but I will throw it to Will. Final thoughts here tonight, sir.
Yeah, I felt very comfortable in this match. I'm not gonna lie. You know, I did. Apparently, I have some work to do personally in a competitive sense. But none of that matters. Because what we do is we have fun and we have a blast. I would have loved to have gotten beaten tonight. And I would have came in and I would have said, you know what, I got a lot more work to do, even more than the work that I already have to do. That being said, this was the encore of the first round. This is the last match. We're moving into round 2. We're going to move on to our tournament director, Tristal MTG. He's going to roll some new matches, brand new in everything. A new captain, a new walk the plank. And what we are going to continue to do is have a great time. And that is what we do. And we are going to continue to do that. Whether it's live on Twitch right now on Speed Gaming 3 or on YouTube. Because we hear you and we hear your voices. Thank you, Caleb, for the match. It's been an honor. I can't wait to get back into your podcast. I know Falconic probably wants in. Fizzlebeef wants in. Lyra probably will jump in. You know, who knows? But it's an honor and a pleasure to play you. And thank you for everything that you did to make this match happen tonight.
This was an absolute best note to go out for the encore. I couldn't think of anything better to go out with, and I think if Caleb actually did beat you tonight, Will, which was very, very short of doing, we might have broken speed gaming tonight. So before Caleb heads out, I'm gonna throw some last thoughts to him. Anything you wanna tell the crowd tonight?
Again, thank you so much, and I'm glad I'm glad we gave him a show. I'm glad it was the encore, and it was. And I can't wait to go watch the VOD to see if it's as exciting as you all are saying it is. I'm sure it is. I'm just trying to breathe, but it's awesome. I can't thank you all enough. Danny, Lyra, thank you for tracking. Falconic, Fizzlebeef, and Mogwai, like, thank you so much for commentating and everything. It's just been amazing, and I'm looking forward to next week.
Oh, I can tell you I will definitely be the first one fighting for blood to commentate and volunteer on your upcoming matches. It was an absolute joy to call both of you tonight. It was a great match, a very close match. But with that being said, we're about to throw it over to Tristal MTG so that we can see the week 2 pairings. We can all decompress a little bit. Definitely Caleb, get some breath, maybe get some water, maybe pace his house 7 different times. But we're going to throw it over to him. So with that being said, my name is Moist Mogwai. Thank you again to Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 3 specifically for having us here tonight. Fizzle, you want to take us home, man?
Good night and good luck. See you in round 2.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for joining us here tonight.